Our session. All right. Today's session, just as usual, would have an amazing time. There are quite a lot of people joining us. We're expecting more people to join. If you have a friend who you know is trying to land a job, especially a job that comes with visa sponsorship, you want to get them into this session. All right. And our topic today is on high paying jobs in 2026 with UK visa sponsorship and also accelerated pathways to PR for those in Canada and also relevant for those in the US, irrespective of where you are. Okay, you are in Ireland, you're in France, in somewhere in Europe, you would have an amazing session today. Okay, all right. So let's get cracking and let's get into the main meat of our session. I'll be leading the session. My name is Adeza Suleiman. I'll do a little bit of introduction as we move on. Okay, so our topic, like I mentioned, high paying jobs in 2026 with UK visa sponsorship and accelerated pathways to PR. Now, why are we here today? Why are we here? We have different reasons, different people. You are here for different reasons, okay? And you fall into one of these groups or one of these categories of people that I'll be sharing today. Okay, and I'm going to play a video, an interesting video. I came across this video during the week, and I'll share the video with you because so many people are either in her situation or will be in her situation in a couple of months. All right. But one category of people we have here today are some of you, you are currently on your post-study visa. So you're done with your master's, you're on a postgraduate work permit, and you are watching the month count down. Okay, so it's either you have 2 years left on your visa and you're looking at the month in, month out, you start to count down to when you have to land a job. So there's a bit of pressure on you. Now, for some of you, you are switching from different other roles, from warehouse roles, you work in retail, you work in healthcare, you work in customer service, and you want to transition into the technology ecosystem. And for some, you are qualified, you think you have the right skills, you believe you have the skills, you've done training here and there, you believe you have the skills, but you keep on getting rejections when you put out applications. And then we have some currently on the call today. You are exhausted mentally and emotionally, and you really don't know what to do. You are just confused. All right. So my mission today is to bring clarity to you on the different career path you need to move into, and also showing you a couple of things on how you can structure a plan, a strategy to getting you that job in 2026. All right. So I'd walk you through that. It would be as practical as possible. And at the end, would have a Q&A. You'd have the opportunity to ask me questions and would have an amazing time taking those questions. But I want us to watch Deborah's video. It's a long video, but I'll play just 2 minutes of the video. Listen to her. Deborah couldn't land visa sponsorship in the UK, so she had to leave. She made some mistakes that I feel that a lot of people shouldn't make if you have the right guidance and the right support. But she made those mistakes, and I'll be sharing some ideas. I'll be sharing my thoughts on what I think she could have done better and how you ensure that you don't fall into the same situation. Okay. So there are people on this call today that will be in Deborah's situation in a few months' time, in a year or thereabouts. So I want you to listen carefully, ask questions as we move on, make a note of the questions. When we get to Q&A, feel free to ask those questions. All right. So let's dive into Deborah's video. And I've kept a link right here. So there's a link where you can easily, sorry, there's a link where you can easily access and see everything I'll be showing today. I'll put a link to it, all the articles, all the videos. You'll be able to go back and watch at your own convenience, but you have to make sure you fill the attendance. There's an attendance form. If you want to receive my slides and all the materials, make sure you fill the attendance form. So before we even get started, I want you to listen to Deborah and I want you to learn from Deborah's story. Okay. So I'm going to share Deborah's story, her journey, what happened to her, and then we'll come back and I'll walk you through what you should do to make sure you don't fall into the same situation. Okay. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and let's hear from Deborah.
Today is my last day in the United Kingdom.
We are waiting for you. You can now reject our own. Mama.
So a little over 3 years ago, you guys watched me get my visa to the UK. You saw me pack my life in suitcases and travel across continents to go study in the United Kingdom. You saw me go to school on my first day. You saw me try to adjust as an immigrant and life in the UK, even down to my graduation. But what you didn't see was how close I was to losing everything that I was trying to build, and that is a part of my story that didn't make it on camera. At some point I stopped counting, but I made approximately 3,000 job applications and I went on 24 interviews in a search of a sponsored job. 24 interviews and none of them worked out. I just never clicked. And God help me. I applied to jobs like my life depended on it. I tailored every CV, every cover letter for each role across different sectors. I tried to pivot, I tried to make myself fit. And somewhere along the way, I hit a point of mental exhaustion. This became my wallpaper, not as a joke. People thought it was a joke when I used this as my profile picture on WhatsApp. But it was an honest reflection of my mental state. I was exhausted. And so when I realized I was running out of time, I made the hardest decision that I'd been avoiding. And I booked my flight home.
If you could hear the audio, which I'm sure you could, just type in a yes into the chat. And I'm sure you listened to Deborah tell a little bit of her story. She moved to the UK for her master's, but she had to leave and go back to her home country. She couldn't land a job, a visa sponsored job. Okay, fantastic. You could all hear the audio. Brilliant. So now, one thing I want you to understand clearly, 24 interviews, according to what Deborah said, and she did not get sponsorship. If I had the opportunity to advise Deborah, I'd have given her a totally different advice. Rather than going through 24 interviews, no sponsorship, you would have gotten a job. Deborah would have definitely gotten a job, 1,000%. Okay. The fact that she kept on getting interviews upon interviews upon interviews, she was doing something right. But why couldn't she go past the interview stage? Perhaps she was only focusing on landing a visa sponsor job, but there are strategies to getting sponsorship. And I'll be sharing that with you. And I'll piggyback on Deborah's story to pick one or two things that she might have done differently so that she would have gotten a different outcome. And usually, for people in Deborah's story, the scariest part is not the fact that you did not get a job or you did not ace your interviews. The scariest part is not knowing if what you are doing is even right or wrong. So what happened during those interviews? 24 interviews. What happened? Why didn't you get one of those jobs? Did you get feedback? Did you record yourself during the interviews? Did you show someone? So one thing that I always advise people to do, and we do at Analytics, is if you go for an interview, and it's virtual, you must record yourself. So you put your mobile phone, hit the record button, and the questions and the way you respond to the questions will be recorded. You send that back to us. We listen to it and we tell you what you've done right and what you've done wrong. So you don't go into the second interview not knowing exactly what to say and exactly what to do. You don't make the same mistakes twice with us at Analytics. Having said that, I'm going to move on and I'll piggyback, like I said, from time to time to show you what you should do and how to ensure that you don't find yourself in this situation in the coming months, in the coming years, and so on. So today, I'll be showing you how to identify the career path that would land you visa sponsorship between 6 to 8 months. I'd show you how to learn the skills required to land a visa sponsored job and also accelerated pathways to PR. Okay, I'll show you how to gain the work experience to show employers that you are the best candidate for the job. And finally, I'll show you how to get started today. How do you start your journey today? One of the mistakes, I don't know Deborah, I came across her video on Instagram, then I went on YouTube to watch her story. Okay, one of the mistakes Deborah made, and a lot of people make, is you've gone to a country for your master's, say the UK, for example, or you've gone to Canada, but you decide to put everything else on pause and focus only on your master's, only to realize that when you are done with your master's, you are faced with a job market. And unfortunately, for so many people, they realize very late that the skills you've gotten from your master's program are not adequate enough to land you a job. You don't know how to do the job when you get that job after your master's program. I studied in the UK myself, so I can tell you categorically that most of the time, especially for master's program, you don't get the skills required to do the job. So big mistake. During your master's, you are not upskilling. It's a big mistake. If you don't upskill during your master's, you want to get a job as a business analyst, but you are doing a master's in business analytics, but you don't work on projects. You don't have mentors. You don't have projects. You don't have the opportunity to gain the skills, learn the tools and technologies required to do that job on day one. When you land the job, you're making a big mistake. For some people, they wait until they are in the second month, 1 year after your post-study visa, your postgraduate work permit for those in Canada, before you start focusing on the job application. If you waste time every single day, every single week and month you waste, is time wasted that you could have upskilled, gotten work experience, and that positions you a whole lot better for the job market. For those of you joining us for the first time, Tenalytics is a leading educational technology company focused on helping people land high-paying jobs within the tech ecosystem. We've helped nurses become data analysts, accountants become project managers, healthcare assistants, care workers become business analysts. We've helped bankers become data scientists and so on and so forth across different regions. Over the last 5 years, we've helped over 3,400 people across the UK, the US, across Europe, also in Africa, Asia, to land jobs within the tech ecosystem. And for me, for those of you meeting me for the first time, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm a technology expert with over a decade experience cutting across data analytics, management consulting, data science, data engineering, and so on. I'm the founder of Tenalytics and also the co-founder of Amdari. And using these two platforms, we've been able to help over 3,400 people with no prior tech background to transition into the tech ecosystem. For those, some landed visa sponsorship, some got promotions, some were able to get high-paying jobs in different other areas in the tech ecosystem. My experience spans across 5 different sectors, from educational technology to automobile to sports, financial services. I currently work as a data analytics and engineering contractor in Canada. I've worked as a data science consultant in the UK. I've worked in the UK, worked remotely for companies in the US back when I was in Nigeria. I've worked with one of the largest energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa as a data analyst, management information systems analyst, and I've worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC, owned by the Bankers Committee and the Central Bank of Nigeria. And I'll be leading the session today. I'll share a bit of my experience. How was I able to transition? My first degree was in industrial chemistry. Okay, so I have a background in chemistry. but I've just reeled out my experience across areas within the tech ecosystem. So how did I transition? And how have other people also made the transition? So our mantra, I'm going to share that with you. And our mantra today is what? Act fast and also act smart. Never wait until you are done with school. Never wait until you are halfway gone with your post-study visa before you start applying to jobs. Have a strategy from day one. The day you move into a new country as an immigrant, the day you decide I want to land a job within a particular ecosystem, you must have a strategy on day one. Okay. You must also act smart. I'm not going to apply and go for 24 interviews simply because I want to get sponsorship. No, I would use a strategy that we call this strategy at Analytics Stoop. Pardon my handwriting, please. Let me write this again. The strategy is called Stoop to Conquer. Okay. And I'm going to walk you through the strategy. If you only apply to visa sponsor jobs, you're likely not going to get sponsorship. And I'll show you a practical case study of somebody who landed a job. It had no sponsorship. Okay. But it was with a company that had the license to sponsor. He went above and beyond to deliver on that role and he got sponsored. He got sponsored at the end of the day. He got his COS. He applied. That was December 2025. His name is Pedro. I'm going to walk you through Pedro's story. You'd listen to Pedro. So act fast and act smart. Okay. And we'll come up with strategies that would help you navigate this ecosystem. To get sponsorship, always remember you must look like somebody that can be hired even without sponsorship. Because if you chase sponsorship, you appear desperate during your interviews and your desperation would easily be seen. You're likely not going to perform as well as you should. And that would serve as a disadvantage to you eventually. So you must look like somebody that is highly skilled, highly experienced for that job, even if the job had no sponsorship. Okay. So a lot of people in the UK today, they think in the UK, in Canada, across different regions, that the job market is broken. So you have candidates applying to jobs everywhere, but they're not getting any interviews, no callbacks. They've gone for interviews, but they really cannot land the job. But on the flip side, you have employers who are looking for candidates. They are searching everywhere for candidates, but they can't find qualified candidates to get the job. Talk more of landing sponsorship. So the approach you adopt in getting these jobs and sponsorship matter a whole lot. And I'll be showing you the best path forward on how you can navigate this space. Now, one of the things you also want to understand is when you are in a time of chaos, so many immigration changes across different regions, from the UK saying they want to extend the qualifying period for ILR to Canada's reducing their immigration, pathways, especially for those who are on temporary work permit and so on and so forth. Facts becomes your friend. When you are in a time of chaos, a time of confusion, don't listen to the rumors and ignore the noise. Focus on what? Facts. So with all the numerous changes in 2025, did the job market grow in the UK? Absolutely. In 2025, the general economy was quite slow in terms of creation of jobs, job creation. However, jobs within the tech ecosystem grew marginally. And the growth was driven by roles within IT director roles, programmers and software developers, data analysts, website professionals, business analysts, business architects. And of course, the regions where that experienced this growth: London, number one; Edinburgh, number two; Leeds, Bristol, Manchester, Birmingham, Belfast, Glasgow, and so on and so forth. And in 2026, the opportunities also lie within the tech ecosystem. So according to Robert Half, one of the largest HR consulting companies, recruiters across the globe. The top skills and areas of experience in 2026 in the UK: AI, machine learning, and data science, cybersecurity, data analytics and business intelligence, cloud. So if you're in the cloud engineering, cloud solutions, as a data engineer, you are definitely a cloud architect, a cloud engineer, and of course, software applications and development. So opportunities would be available, but where will the opportunities lie become very important. So the question you need to also ask yourself is, do I have the skills to compete for the jobs that would give me sponsorship? If the answer is no, just like Deborah, you'd keep on going for interviews and realize that these jobs cannot come with sponsorship. Okay, so that's very important. Opportunities would definitely grow, jobs would grow, job opportunities would grow in 2026. However, they would grow within specific areas. Same in Canada. In 2025, the job market grew marginally by around 1.4%. However, the tech ecosystem grew far beyond 1.4% in Canada. And in 2026, Canada would continue to face a strong demand for talents. However, the talents would come from a particular ecosystem in terms of the jobs that would grow the fastest and where you would see opportunities. For those who have cloud tools, they understand how to use AWS, they understand GCP, they understand Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Excel, build dashboards, data analytics, cybersecurity, and so on and so forth. So the opportunities would grow, just like in the UK, but in a specific sector. So the question I need to ask myself is, if I know where opportunities would lie, I know where the jobs would grow, why don't I get into those areas? So that it makes my job 10 times faster, 10 times easier to land a job. So the first thing we're going to look at today in designing and developing your strategy is the career path that are eligible, the career path that are high in demand for you to land a job. Because if you focus on career path that employers are already actively searching for, then you make your work a lot easier. So that's number one. That's the first advice I would have given to Deborah. Deborah, what's your specialization? Oh, this is where you have to get into if you want to land a job fast and if you want to get sponsorship. Okay. So in deciding the career path that would land you sponsorship, we at Analytics, we've undergone different series of analysis and research. One of the first things we do is we look at the different job boards from Glassdoor to LinkedIn to UK Visa Jobs to Civil Library to Workopolis and so on and so forth. And what we try to do is to find out what career path is what's high in demand. Okay, high in demand. So which roles are employers hiring for today? The jobs with the highest frequency of demand. We do this analysis to find out the jobs that are high in demand. Secondly, we look at the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports. This is a report released every 2 years. The most recent was released in January 2025, last year 2025. The next will be released next year 2027. And it shows you the career path that would grow in demand and the career path that would decline in demand. So if I know the career path that would grow, that's where I want to be. So we looked at this report to validate the analysis we had carried out here for the jobs that are in high demand. And I'll show you what it looks like. I've kept the link here for you to download. It's available publicly. Okay. But make sure you fill the attendance. If you want to get access to all my slides and materials, make sure you fill the attendance. So if I click on this, it's going to take me to that report. The Future of Jobs report by the World Economic Forum. And I want to take you to page 21. Okay. That's a very important page for anyone who wants to land a job. Here you would see the jobs the job growth and the job decline in the next 5 years, 2025 to 2030. So the career path that are in demand today and the career path that would grow in demand over the next 5 years and the career path that will decline in demand. So at the left-hand side, you have the career path that would grow. At the right-hand side, you have career paths that are on the decline. And at the left-hand side, that's where I want to focus on if I want to land a job fast, because these are the career paths that are in demand today and will keep on growing in demand over the next 5 years. You have the big data specialists. These are your data engineers. If you work with big data and so on, manage the data, store the data, make the data easily accessible. These are your data engineers. You have the AI and machine learning specialists. These are your data scientists. You have the security management specialists. These are your cybersecurity professionals, data warehousing specialists, data engineers, UI UX designers. These are your product designers. You have your data analysts, data scientists. You have your information security analysts. These are your cybersecurity professionals, DevOps engineers, data engineers. If you scroll down, you'd see more roles that are in high demand: the database architects, the project managers, and so on and so forth. Okay, you'd see the process optimization specialists, process automation specialists. These are your business analysts. The business analyst focuses on optimizing processes. So we looked at this report, the World Economic Forum, to validate the analysis we had carried out. Okay, to validate the analysis we had carried out here. So we could see that there are specific set of jobs that are high in demand and will keep on growing in demand. And you don't want to get into a career path that is on the decline in a way that you get into that career path today. In the next 1 year, the next 2 years, you're out of job, you're out of work because your career path is on the decline due to digitalization, implementation of AI, and so on and so forth. And finally, we looked at regional analysis. So we looked at the UK, the three major economies, the UK, the US, and Canada. In the UK, we looked at the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa. So again, if I had the opportunity to advise Deborah, I would have advised her, first of all, this is the starting point. Is your career path eligible for the skilled worker visa? If the answer is no, then you must go learn a skill to get a job in a career that is eligible for the skilled worker visa. And I'll show you what this looks like. So let's go to the UK eligible occupations. Again, I have the link right here for you. Okay, so if you click on this link, it takes you to the gov.uk website and you can see the skilled worker visa, eligible occupations, and codes. Very important website for you, for anybody looking to land sponsorship. I'm going to scroll all the way down to 2131. IT project managers. These are your agile project managers. It's eligible for sponsorship. IT business analysts, business architects, system designers. So as a business analyst, okay, as a solutions architect, as a data engineer, data architect, just like we saw in the World Economic Forum, these are career paths that are eligible for the skilled worker visa. The cybersecurity professional, if I'm in cybersecurity, I'm in a career path that is eligible. Okay, the DevOps engineers, the UI UX designers, these are your product designers and so on. You can scroll and go on and on and on, and you'd see different other career paths. Let's go to 2431, 2434. I have these on my slides and I'll share them with you. And like I said, make sure you have filled the attendance form so that you get access. You have access to all of this. Okay. You have the data scientists. You have the business intelligence analysts. These are your data analysts. Okay. You have the business analysts. So there are specific career paths that if you find yourself in those career paths, you are eligible for the skilled worker visa. Very important. It makes your work a lot easier. Okay. So that's number one. We looked at the US. And in the US, we looked at the job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance rates. So if you click on the link, it takes you to my visa jobs. Here you can see the job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance rates. Okay, and you'd see the software engineers, the software developers. Let me maximize this a bit so you can see my screen a bit better. Okay, the data engineers ranking number 6. You have the data scientists, you have the business analyst, the project manager, the data analysts, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you start to see a pattern. And if you go to Canada as well, we looked at the provincial nominee programs. That's the provincial nominee programs, the PNP programs with accelerated pathways, priority pathways. So the Saskatchewan Tech Pathway, for example, if you click on that link, it takes you to the Saskatchewan Tech Pathway. So it's a tech talent pathway with or from the Saskatchewan government. Let me maximize. Now you have the non-express entry routes, you have the express entry routes. If you check the non-express entry, scroll all the way down, you'd see the career path that are eligible. Same pattern. The data scientists, the cybersecurity specialists, the business systems analysts. These are the business analysts, information systems specialists, database analysts, database administrators. These are your data analysts, and so on and so forth. Same with the BC Tech pilots, the British Columbia Tech pilots, the same. Same with the Ontario PMP program as well, similar career path. So we saw the pattern after our analysis and research. There are specific career paths that if you find yourself there, you would not struggle to land a job. Okay? Now, these are the 11 career paths. The business analysts, the data analyst, the data scientist, the agile project manager, the data engineer, the cybersecurity analyst, the HR analyst, the financial analyst, the DevOps engineer, the product designer, and the health tech professional. That's the healthcare data analyst, the health tech professional. These are the 11 different career paths that if you find yourself in any one of these areas, you will find yourself in a career path that is number 1, high in demand. Employers are searching for you. Number 2, eligible for sponsorship and also accelerated pathways to permanent residency. And that's exactly what Sharon did. Sharon joined us last year, I think sometime around May. Sharon worked as a healthcare assistant with the NHS, but she wanted to move away from the healthcare assistant role and move into a role within the tech ecosystem. Now, what did she do? She joined our business analysis program in March 2025. March 2025. We worked with her on her CV, on her LinkedIn. We worked with her during her mentorship sessions. We prepared her for interviews. We reviewed her interviews. The interview she attended, we reviewed, gave her feedback, how to improve, and so on and so forth. And of course, she applied to multiple jobs. And in less than 4 months after joining, she landed a job in May 2025 as a business data analyst. And the role came with sponsorship. You have somebody like Gad. Gad, a student in the UK, moved to the UK just like Deborah did, went to study in the UK. Gad realized that my master's was not giving me enough. Because when you look at the job requirements and you look at what you're studying, what he was studying that time in the university, he was not learning the skills and tools and technologies that he saw on the job requirements when he looked at jobs to apply to. So he joined our data engineering program in July 2024. We worked with him, prepped him for interviews, his CV, joined our mentorship sessions. He built a portfolio. We showed him how to do that. And January last year, 2025, just about 5 months, less than 5 months after completing his program, he landed a job with the NHS as a data warehouse and ETL developer. And the job came with sponsorship. Now, one of the things Gad did that Deborah did not do is this. God did not wait until he was done with his master's. He did not wait until he was under his post-study visa before he started to upskill. He started upskilling while he was still undergoing his master's. So by the time he was done, he already had all the skills required to apply and get that job. Okay. God also spoke about his experience. We might have time. If we have time, I'm going to play God's video. You'd listen to God and hear what moved the needle for him. But I want to show you God's profile very quickly on LinkedIn. Okay. So you have an idea of some of the things that helped God land the job. Very important. And that's why I said, if I had the opportunity to advise Deborah, who had to move back to Nigeria because she could not get a job that came with sponsorship, I'd have given her a different advice. But let's check out God very quickly. Okay. So that's God right there. Okay. Immediately you go to God's profile, you know clearly what he does. Data engineer, turning big data into smart systems with AI and ML. Currently in Newcastle. One of the things you would also see is you both worked at Tenalytics, and I'll explain how important this is to anybody trying to land a job, especially a visa sponsor job. Now, when you go to God's profile, one of the things you'd see is Azure data engineer with Tenalytics on contract. And this was before he landed his job in January last year as a data warehouse and ETL developer with the NHS Business Service Authority. Now, any employer that looks at your LinkedIn and your CV and see that you are already performing that job, performing that role in a different company, they have more confidence that you can do the job. Because I'll tell you something for free today and take it to the bank. No employer in the UK, no employer in Canada, no employer in the US would sponsor you if they are not convinced that you have the experience to do the job, not the skills, but the experience to do the job. Very important. And that's why experience is absolutely crucial to you landing that job. So having Azure data engineer with Tenalytics on contract is strategic. It didn't happen by chance. Okay, and that's God's experience and how he was able to transition. Then you have Ikmat. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom. She moved to the UK for her master's as well. Today, Ikmat is an information analyst with the NHS on sponsorship. So Ikmat moved to the UK. She had just given birth to her child. She was a stay-at-home mom for 2 years, but she wanted to move back into the workplace. Then she realized very quickly that she was doing a master's in public health. And she saw the jobs the NHS had, always advertised, that these jobs require the use of Excel. They require the use of Power BI, SQL, and so on. And she was not learning those tools and technologies during her master's. So she enrolled, she came to us, she joined our data analytics program, and she also wanted sponsorship. By January 2024, Ikmat got her sponsorship. She got a job with the NHS as an information analyst with the NHS Sussex Community Foundation Trust on full visa sponsorship. I'm going to play Ikmat's videos. You're going to listen to Ikmat and you hear how she was able to transition. So I'd come back, play Ikmat's video. You'd listen to her and you get to see how she transitioned. Okay. But I'm also going to show you Ikmat's profile very quickly. Okay. And I want us to learn something from these, examples. So that's Ikmat, absolutely phenomenal professional. Again, you both worked at Tenalytics, experience, positioning yourself as somebody who has experience. Okay. She currently works as an information analyst with the Sussex Community Foundation Trust on full visa sponsorship. Prior to then, she was what? A data analyst with Tenalytics, positioning. Very important. All right. So that's Ikmat's story and so many other people. You have Ramat. Ramat worked as a customer service professional in the UK while she was doing her master's. She did all the things I'm going to advise you to do today. We prepped her for our interviews. She was able to gain all the things she needed to land this job with the NHS as a business architect. Today, Ramat is a business architect with the NHS on what? Full visa sponsorship. Now, if you go back to the website I showed you earlier, the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa, okay? And you go to eligible occupations, all right? Now, this is very important. One of the things you'd see, the career path eligible for sponsorship is what? The business analyst, business what? Architect. Okay. And that's Ramat's role. She's a business architect, which is a fancy way of saying business analyst. She joined our business analysis program. We prepped her for the interview. She learned all the skills, and Ramat was able to land the job. I'm going to play Ramat's video. I'll take it to her profile, and then I'll play her video for you to also get to hear from Ramat. So that's Ramat, phenomenal professional. Again, you both worked at Tenalytics, very crucial. Now, if you go to her profile, business architect with the Midlands Partnership University, NHS Foundation Trust, customer resolution agent. That was what she did, customer service before she joined us as a business analyst consultant. So when you join to learn, you don't join as a trainee, you don't join as a learner, you join as a consultant or as a contractor. Employers would only be confident to give you that job if they know you've done the job before. So don't tell me what you can do. Show me what you have done. That's the only way you land the job and the only way you get sponsorship. Okay. So I'm going to play Ramat's video. I want you to listen to Ramat's, hear what made the difference for her. It's a long form interview, but we broke it down. I'm going to play just the first 4 minutes. Okay. The areas that are important for you to learn and pick something from. So the first 4 minutes, listen to Ramat. She spoke about how she was able to make that transition. Okay, from a customer service professional to a business architect with the NHS on full visa sponsorship. So sit back, relax, and let's listen to Ramat.
No, I came in as a dependent to my husband. He was a student, so I was
Okay.
dependent at the time.
How was your journey? How did it start? I hear that coming in as a dependent is not that easy. Having to find
Yeah.
a job. What kind of jobs did you even start with?
Well, to be fair, it was quite good for me because I didn't have to do care, but I know so many people that had to do care, warehouse, and all of that. But I started as a customer service rep for British Gas. So British Gas is like an energy providing company that's based in the UK. So suppliers of energies and gas. So I was working with them as their customer service rep, answering calls, queries, about the product and services they offer. So that was what I did for about a year when I got here until my breakthrough with analytics.
I'm very interested in that breakthrough. Tell me about that breakthrough. How did it start? How did you hear of them? And
Oh yeah.
what gave you the conviction to try them out? What is your experience like?
Okay, let me start from how I heard about them. So I was talking to my cousin. My cousin is in the UK as well. She did data analytics with analytics. So I was telling her because I was on mat leave at the time and I didn't just want my mat leave to just go like that, being that I wasn't even really interested in the customer service role. I wanted to be more. So I talked to her and said I was looking at doing something like into around business analytics. That does she know anybody any edu company just like analytics that I can
Go through.
enroll with and all of that. And she said, "Oh, that's really good because she just finished a data analytics course with analytics and all of that. That I would really enjoy them." She mentioned Adiza. She mentioned a few people from analytics that really helped her during her own time. I was like, "Is it really good?" She was like, "It's really, really good." And then she said there used to be a master class that I can attend that and just hear from them first before I fully enroll with them and all of
Go
that. I'm
in.
like, okay, yeah. That's fine. She sent me the link to the master class, and then that was it for me. Like I didn't even have to think twice. Immediately I did the master class, I enrolled immediately because I knew this was what I wanted. They were just spilling Adiza was the one, I remember. It was the one that held the master class with one other person, and it was telling us all the benefits, all the things that we will learn in the space of about 3 months, how it will be practical enough to carry that knowledge into our job. Like when we eventually land the job, that's enough experience. And to be honest, it was practical enough because that was all that helped me. So that was how I began my journey with analytics. I enrolled with them and started around it was around April, if I can remember
Yeah.
correctly, April 2023.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to pin the link.
That was when I started with analytics. And it was supposed to be 3 months, 3 months, 1 month for the theoretical aspect, and then I think 2 months for the practical. You have like a group where you practicalize all the things that you've been taught. They give you a project, they assign a project to your group, and then you partake, you do all the things that you would actually do on the job, you do it with them. So that took about 2 months or so. But I tell you for a fact, I started immediately after my first month with them. I already knew what I wanted. So I started enrolling for jobs and all of that. I'd not even finished my practicals before I got a job as a business analyst in one of the trusts in NHS. And that's where I still work currently. So it was that good. It was that good. All the things they taught us, all the practicals that I started to learn like bits by bits, because I already mentioned that I haven't even finished. So that was what I
Yeah.
put into the CV, into my supporting statements. And the good thing, what even crowned it up for me was when I got the interview, I told Adiza about it, and then there was a proper prep, like interview prep that I did that just prepped me comprehensively for the job. He was one of the facilitators in charge then that just prepped me, and then that was it. I got in there and smashed it, and I got the job.
So that's Ramat. And that's Ramat's story. Okay, so everything Ramat was able to learn on the job is what she still uses today as a business architect with the NHS. She talked about working on practicals, ensuring that everything she learned, she practicalized, had the opportunity to put it into practice and gain the experience from there, which is something you don't get in your master's, your university, and all of that. She talked about the interview prep. She had a proper interview prep. And that's why it's an aberration for you to go for 24 interviews and you don't land one job offer because it means you don't know what you are doing wrong. Okay. So it's important that you listen to Ramat and pick one or two things from Ramat's story and you get to understand why Ramat is where she is today. So before we move on, I want you to tell me which of the career path are you interested in? Type into the chat. I'm going to go back to that page. But before I do that, type into the chat. Tell me the career path you are interested in. With data analytics, just type into the chat. I'd like to see and know your thoughts. Project manager from Kayode, fantastic. Let's keep it going. Okay, so type data analytics, absolutely phenomenal. Healthcare analytics, fantastic. That is an amazing career path that a lot of people don't realize is super high in demand today. Healthcare informatics, fantastic. So health tech, business analyst from William. Okay, so let me bring that up so we can all see that page to give you some guidance in selecting. Okay, so type into the chart, Oluyemi says healthcare analytics, financial analytics, fantastic. Araba says data analytics, brilliant. Ayola says business analysis, cybersecurity. Fee says data analytics, health informatics. Absolutely fantastic. Now, it's important that you start from here. You must find yourself in a career path that is in high demand, a career path eligible for the skilled worker visa, eligible for accelerated pathways to PR, where you can get a COS, you apply, you get your skilled worker visa, and you have the opportunity to stay back in the country. Very, very important. Once you've done that, the second thing is how to learn the skills. So a lot of people have chosen healthcare informatics, healthcare data analytics, business analysis, project management, but a lot of people learn the wrong way. And the reason why you learn the wrong way, just like myself, okay? I studied industrial chemistry. Industrial chemistry. Let me write that on the screen. I studied industrial chemistry. Nothing related to data analytics, but I transitioned to what? Data analytics. So I worked as a data analyst. But before I even got a job as a data analyst, my first job out of the university was as a management consultant. Nothing related to what I studied. So when you find yourself in this situation, like Sharon, who was a healthcare assistant, but today Sharon works with the NHS as a business data analyst, or you find yourself like somebody like Gad, who was a mechanical engineer, but today he's a data engineer, an ETL and data warehouse developer, which is a fancy way of saying data engineer with the NHS, or somebody like Ramat, who did customer service, but today is a business architect with the NHS. You start to have some fears and some doubts. Can I do it? Can I move from industrial chemistry to data analytics? Can I move from customer service to business architect, business analysis? And you have those questions. So those are some of the fears that people have. Number one, I am switching career path. Will they sponsor me? And the assumption is that employers would sponsor me simply because of the fact that will my past work experience be useless and so on. But I want you to know that employers don't sponsor your background. They don't sponsor you because of where you're coming from. They sponsor you for two things: your skills and your experience. And your skills and experience forms your competence. And if you look at the pattern of those that got jobs, like I showed you, Gad, he had Azure Data Engineer with Analytics on his profile. The same thing was on his CV. So when you look at the LinkedIn, it's a replica of the CV. Okay. When you look at Ramat had business and analyst consultant with Analytics. When you look at Ikmat had data analyst consultant or contractor with Analytics. Employers want to see that you have the experience before they give you that job. So they'll test your competence. You'd get questions that are competency based, and those are the questions that carry the highest marks during interviews. Competency based questions. Okay, so that's one thing you need to know. Number two is I don't have UK experience, which is a major challenge for some people. So projects can serve as work experience, and I'll show you how. And just like those that you've seen that have listed Analytics on their profile, you can gain work experience with Analytics and with Amdari, which is our sister company where you do your internship. I'm going to double down on that and show you what Amdari is all about. That's how you gain work experience. So when you see those profiles with work experience with Analytics, it is strategic to show that you have work experience in that area. And I'll break it down I'll show you how it works and how you can do the same. Now, for some people, the fear is my visa is expiring very soon. If you find yourself in this situation where your visa is expiring in the next couple of months, in a year, you think a year is a long time, but it's very short. You think 2 years is a long time, but it's actually very short. If you find yourself here, you want to know that the sooner you start preparing yourself, having a strategy today, the better for you. Very important. Okay. So again, having a plan gives you the clear direction on where to go, what to do first, second, third, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, how do you learn the skill? That's the second question we're trying to answer. But you have these fears because some of you are coming from, you're care workers, support workers. Some of you have worked in the warehouse. For me, I was a industrial chemists. And for so many people, you're coming from a different background. Ramat was in customer service. How do you learn? You must learn in a particular way. And the way you learn is this. Number one is you must learn in a project-based environment. And what does project-based environments mean? It means learning by doing the real work. So if you listen to Ramat, she said she did a lot of practicals, hands-on projects that gave her the experience. All the things she learned were the things she applied on the job when she got the job. So learning by doing the work. For those of you that want to become healthcare data analysts, you must learn by doing the work of a healthcare data analyst, which means you must know how to use tools and technologies like Excel, Power BI, SQL, Tableau to analyze healthcare data, patient data, NHS data, and so on and so forth. If you haven't done that before, there is no way you go into the interview and you would sound like somebody that they want to hire because you've not worked in that space. So you learn by doing the real work, and I'll show you how you do that. And secondly, when you've learned by doing the real work, nobody knows you. Nobody knows how good you are. Nobody knows you are a superstar. You have that experience and you have the skill. So you must showcase your work. You must have a portfolio. Extremely important. Okay, so learn in a project-based environment, which is learning by doing the work, and then you must showcase your work by building a portfolio. So I'm going to show you how this works with us at Tenalytics and how all the professionals I'm going to be showing you today utilize this to land a job. Now, let's take Victoria. This is Victoria. Victoria wants to get sponsorship with the NHS as a data analyst. That is Victoria's goal. Do you know what Victoria must do? Victoria must work. She must learn data analytics, not by watching YouTube videos, not by watching Udemy, not by doing all those stuff. I've done all of those things. And I know thousands of people that have done the same, but it never helped them land a job. So if Victoria wants to get sponsorship with the NHS as a data analyst, she must learn data analytics by doing what? Working as a data analyst in healthcare. So she must get healthcare related problems, healthcare related case studies, solve those problems, and have evidence for solving them. Now, for us at Tenalytics, our alumni, a lot of the people I've shown you today work with the NHS, okay? And the reason is simply because the NHS is the largest recruiter of talents in the UK across board. So a lot of our alumni get opportunities with the NHS, especially with the fact that the opportunities come with sponsorship. So you saw GAD. GAD is a data warehouse and ETL developer. You saw Ikmat, she's an information analyst. You saw Ramat, she's a business architect. So we have over 100 alumni working with the NHS. So we've gone through the process, the hiring process, so many times. What the NHS does during recruitment is they give you a case study to work on. They give you a data set. Okay, they give you a data set, a case study. You go analyze, you work on the case study using Excel, usually Excel or Power BI or SQL, and then you go make a presentation to them because they must test your skills, that you have the skills to do the job. So what we've done is we've taken all those case studies, all those assessments, and you learn by working on those assessments with the NHS. That's number one. Number two, we get healthcare related problems from real organizations. Of course, data privacy is a major consideration. So we ensure that the data has been changed, the name of the organization has been changed. So you can't attribute it to a particular hospital, a particular organization. And then you analyze the data. You use that to learn while you're learning in class by solving real problems. And I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to take you to a real class. Okay, we're going to go to one of the classrooms. This is a classroom where somebody's going to learn Excel. Okay, an Excel live class. When you go to the class material, one of the first things you'd see is a case study. Is a case study for a hospital called St. Luke's Hospital. St. Luke's Hospital has a problem. They have a challenge. So you read about the introduction to the organization, the problem statements. They currently have operational inefficiencies due to data in different silos. So your role, one of the first things you need to do is get the data sets into a central location. And then you help to create reports on patient trends, patient visibility, ensuring that you are able to come up with insights that would help improve the emergency room efficiency, resource allocation, and so on and so forth. These are the type of projects you'd solve. And this is how you learn Excel. You don't learn Excel by watching videos. You learn Excel by using Excel to solve problems like this. And in your classroom, you have a professional who is going to work with you to solve this problem. So you'd work with a professional who would work on this data set with you. You have the opportunity to ask questions, stop the class, share your screen, and you solve these problems together. And when you are done solving the problem, what next? You must show the world what you know how to do. So you will build a portfolio. So Victoria would do what? Build a portfolio. So I'm going to show you what Victoria's portfolio looks like. Okay. So this is what a portfolio would look like. Everybody builds a portfolio. You're in project management, you build a portfolio. Business analysis, you build a portfolio. Cybersecurity, you build a portfolio. And in your portfolio, you have the project you've completed. Deep care hospital analysis. Anybody can come in here, see what you've done. I can click on this link. It takes me to this project that you completed using Tableau. I can interact with the dashboard. I can see what Victoria has built the same way the recruiters, the potential employer would see the same thing. Why? Because the link to your portfolio would always be on your CV and on your LinkedIn. This is how you learn. The best way to learn. You must learn by doing the work. And when you learn by doing the work, what next? You must have evidence that you've done the job. If you're not learning this way, you're going to struggle for a long time. If I had the opportunity to advise Deborah, who had to move back to Nigeria because she couldn't get a job that came with sponsorship, I'd give her this advice. Do you have a portfolio? No. Then let's start working on building one. I can click on this, deselect everything. I want to see data for only Q1. I click on Q1 and it reappears for just Q1. Any employer that sees this will be confident that you can do the job. No doubt that you can use Tableau. And that's what you want to show to employers. Not telling them what you can do, but showing them what you have done. Okay? So the same way, Victor wants to get a job with NatWest as a machine learning engineer. He wants to get sponsorship as well. He wants to get PR and all of that. For him to get this job, he must work as a machine learning engineer in that sector where he wants to land a job. So the same way Victoria solved healthcare related projects and she was able to land a job with the NHS, that's the same way Victor would have to work on projects within the financial services space in order to land a job with NatWest. And I'm going to show you practically how Victor was able to do this. Okay. So I'm going to first of all show you Victor's LinkedIn profile. Victor. I was typing LinkedIn in the search instead of Victor. So I'll go to Victor's LinkedIn profile. We go to his profile. You see Victor Omoboye, fantastic professional. Again, you both worked at Tenalytics. If I scroll all the way down, I get to see data scientist with Tenalytics. Today, he's a data and AI automation specialist and also a global AI delegate in the UK as well. Now, before Victor got this job, he needed to show what he had done, his experience, not what he could do, but what he had done. So Victor has a portfolio. Okay, so I'll show you how we learned and I'll show you how that applied and he kept that into his portfolio. So if you go to Victor's class, I'm going to show you Let's go to his portfolio first of all, okay? So if you go to Victor's LinkedIn, if you go to his contact info, you'd see his portfolio right here, okay? Portfolio. Now, the same way the portfolio is on his LinkedIn, you also have it on his CV. So anybody can access and see what he has done, right? So if we click on Victor's portfolio, it takes us to his portfolio. We can see what he's done. He's built an AI-powered customer care chatbot. He has worked on a loan default prediction model. And I'll tell you what this is all about. This is Victor building a model, a machine learning model, as a data scientist that can predict when customers would default on their loans. Okay? So by doing this, Victor can have a conversation with anybody within the financial services space and talk about how he can help them improve their non-performing loans by implementing a machine learning model that will detect and predict customers that are likely going to default on their loans. And if I come here and click it, I want to see what this project is all about. I can read about the project right here on Victor's portfolio, the problem statements, the aim of the project. Better still, I can click on the notebook and see how Victor built it. So this is like you buying a mobile phone, taking the mobile phone apart to see the intrigue, all the different items, all the different parts that was, coupled together to make that phone. So I can look at Victor's code. What libraries did he use? How did he carry out his data cleaning? How did he carry out his exploratory data analysis? I can see this step by step as a hiring manager, as a recruiter, and it gives me the confidence that Victor can do this job looking at what he had done. And I'll show you what Victor's class looks like. Okay. So if you go to Victor's classroom, how did he come up with this particular project on loan default prediction? He worked on it in class. So you learn by doing the job. Okay. So I'm going to go to Victor's classroom. Let me look for it. Yes. So while Victor was learning machine learning, he didn't learn machine learning by watching videos. He learned machine learning by doing what? Working on projects, real world projects. So this is the same case study, Loanalytics Incorporated, loan default prediction. So you read about the business problem, the problem statements, what they are currently undergoing, and how you would step in to solve that problem. You don't work on the problem alone to figure things out yourself. No. I'll show you what the class recording looks like. Okay. So you'd see how you work together with a professional to solve that same problem in class. Step by step, you look at the case studies and you start to solve one after the other. And when you are done completing this project, what happens? Just like Victor did, you go to your portfolio and you upload it into your portfolio as evidence of the work that you've done. So every Saturdays, you have a live class with a professional working on projects together, gaining experience through projects. That's how you start to gain experience, and that's the best way to learn. So we've answered question number 1, which is a high demand career path. You want to get in there. If you do that, your job search becomes a lot easier. Number 2 is what? You must learn the right way. And what's the right way to learn? Learning in a project-based environment, but that's learning by doing the job and showcasing your work to the whole world by building a portfolio. When you've done that, you must do what? Gain experience. And how do you gain experience? To show employers that you are the best candidate for the job. Hire me. You have other candidates, but I'm the best candidate because I come with experience across different sectors. If it's in healthcare, I've worked on healthcare projects. You speak about what you've done. If it's in retail, I've worked on retail. If it's in financial services, I've worked within financial services. And I currently work in that capacity with Tenalytics. So how do you gain experience to show employers? I've shown you the first way to gain experience through what? Project-based learning. The second is through internship. So all the programs, all the career path you highlighted, from data analytics to data science to business analysis to cybersecurity, they all come with internships with Amdari. Amdari is a sister company to Tenalytics. Amdari operates out of London in the UK and out of Alberta in Canada. So you have the opportunity to also list Amdari as part of your work experience. So once you go through the training for 6 months, you move into the internship where you collaborate with other professionals. As a data analyst, you are working with a business analyst, you are working with a cybersecurity professional to solve a common goal. Because in the real world, you will be solving problems collectively, not in silos. So you gain interpersonal skills, communication skills, and so on and so forth. And of course, you must have evidence of your work, which is building a portfolio. I've shown you that already. So by the time you are done with your training with Analytics, you know all the tools, you've worked on projects, you have projects in your portfolio. Then you move to Amdari for your internship. And at Amdari, we partner with different companies in the UK, companies in Canada, and you work on problems from those companies. Okay. You don't work in the companies. All right. But you work on problems from the companies around fintech, retail, and so on. So, for example, Credify is a fintech company. I'll just show you what their website looks like very quickly. Credify, let me try to take you to their website. So these are some of the companies that we work with. Okay. So Credify is a fintech company. So what we do is we partner with these companies. We get problems from them, the problems they're trying to solve, and we give those problems to you and you solve those problems. So your internship is based on what? Real world problems. So this is one of our partners, of course, Trust Flow UK as well, which is also in the fintech space. I don't know if I have their website here, but I'll try to search for them. Trustflow UK. Also within the fintech space, the payments, they have a payment infrastructure and so on and so forth. You also get to work on problems within this space. So we partner with these organizations. You work on problems within these organizations, and this gives you the skills to solve the problem in the real world. So when you get the job on day one, you know what to do. There is no doubt about that. Okay. So just to give you an idea of the type of projects you do during your internship. And these are some of our payment partners. We keep on getting partners month in, month out. And I want to use this to showcase Pedro. I talked about Pedro at the beginning. Pedro landed a visa sponsor job in December 2025, just before the year ended. Okay, December 2025. So very recent. And I'm going to play Pedro's video for you. It's quite long, but I'll speed it up at 1.5x so that but you listen to Pedro. So this is Pedro communicating with his coach during his internship. So Pedro had joined Amdari for his internship. Hello, Victoria. Victoria, that's Pedro's coach. I received an offer today. Thanks for all your support and encouragement. So Victoria is saying, hope the pay is great and hope you are good with the offer. And he said, yes, I'm good with the offer. It is 36% more than I'm currently earning. And it also comes with visa sponsorship. But I want you to listen to Pedro on what made the difference for Pedro. He talked about a couple of things. Pedro joined one of the cybersecurity specializations. He joined the SOC, Security Operations Center specialization in cybersecurity. I'll talk you through that when we get to cybersecurity. That was what he joined for his internship, and he was able to land sponsorship. Now, the things that made the difference for Pedro were majorly optimizing his CV for him, preparing him for his interviews, and the opportunity to gain interpersonal skills. But listen to Pedro yourself and get to learn from Pedro and how he was able to make the transition and land a job that came with visa sponsorship. He got that job December 2025. Okay. So remember, we've learned two things today: the career paths that are high in demand. Number two, the best way to learn. And now we are talking about how to gain experience. So listen to Pedro and you'd learn one or two things from Pedro.
Thanks so much, Pedro, for doing this with us. And congratulations on landing the cybersecurity role. Is it SOC or what's the job title?
It's OT security specialist, but more of OT security. So it's cybersecurity, but in operations technology.
Amazing. And it came with visa sponsorship, correct?
Yes. The role
Let me blow some confetti, imaginary confetti. Congratulations.
Yeah,
all right. So I would like to know how your experience, right, the work experience at Amdari helped you go from being a job seeker to becoming job ready, right? From the mentorship to the project. How did the work experience help you go from being a job seeker to being job ready?
Okay, so for starters, in my IT career, I've been more of a lone wolf. I like to study on my own, do my certifications. But moving to the UK, I realized I had to change. I knew I needed some form of mentorship. And that's how I stumbled into Amdari. And yes, the program helped. It provided some guided mentorship that helped me determine the road that was suitable for me and how to navigate to the next chapter. I was already in employment, but I knew I needed to pivot. And yes, the Amdari experience was very important. And it contributed to me landing this new role.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much, Pedro. So what specific aspect of this internship would you say helped you ace your interview?
Okay. For starters, Amdari helped. They have several services. I think the very first one I opted for was the CV rebuild. That is very, very important. And after the session, my CV got a lot better. I knew I was getting a lot more interviews, but I was really picky about the companies I wanted to join. So the CV rebuild was very, very good. And when I did get called for this interview, they also helped with interview preparation sessions. That was very good. That's put me in the right place to answer, to predict questions that were going to be asked. And that really helped to land the role. Then the experience with Amdari was amazing. I was in the SOC analysts cohort. We dabbled into several projects, ranging from SIM analysis, we're building VMs and doing malware analysis. And yes, I mentioned that during my interview, and yes, it really did help.
Okay, awesome. Beautiful. So as we all know, right, a lot of people in the UK, immigrants like yourself, one major thing is always them looking out for jobs that would sponsor them, right? Now, you went from being to becoming someone that lands a job that came with sponsorship. Can you tell them what you did differently, right? And the role that the internship also played in helping you secure this job that came with visa sponsorship?
Okay, so in my previous role, I didn't just limit myself to my basic task. I didn't limit myself to just my job role. You actively need to learn. I was actively involved in other projects that really didn't concern me. And I think they saw that he was willing to learn. He was willing to learn new skills. And that helped. I would say that really, really helped. Going the extra mile. Don't just limit it to just your daily task. Go the extra mile and go out of your way. And for the Amdari experience, I knew I was also lacking with respect to teamwork. So we had a lot of sessions that involved teamwork. And yes, we had breakout sessions where we had to work with the rest of the team. And that really helped. We did a lot of presentation and reporting. And that also was very instrumental because during my interview, the fact you can prepare reports in real time, simple reports that senior management, they can just look at and understand the concepts is very, very important. And yeah, that was really, so those breakout sessions, the team bonding sessions, they were really, really important.
Yeah, and there's something you also said I really like. Aside the teamwork and the collaborative environments, you also mentioned doing more than you're expected, right? Not just saying, oh, this is what my job title says, this is what my area of expertise requires, right? Let me do more, let me bring more to the table. So, because at the end of the day, recruiters are always looking out for people that would not just take initiative, be leaders, and also bring more to the table. So thank you very much, Pedro. So you have an opportunity to advise somebody, right? Someone who is trying to gain experience in the UK or trying to land their next or first tech job. What would that one sentence advice be from you to them?
It will be get experience from Amdari. It will help. I'm already recommending a lot of my friends. A friend of mine has already joined the cohort for data analysis, and she's already enjoying the experience. So it's definitely worth it. Trust me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pedro, for your time on the call. We appreciate you doing this with us, and we honestly wish you the very best of luck. We're glad that you started the Andari program and you got the best out of it, the job, the sponsorship, and I mean, it's higher and ahead from here, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
We're rooting for you. We're rooting for you, and all the best. Thank you so much, Pedro.
I'd like to say one more thing. I'd like to thank my mentor on the program. Her name is Victoria. She was really amazing and outstanding. So yes, big ups to Victoria.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I will definitely let her get this shout out. And thank you so much, Pedro. Do have a beautiful time. Bye.
So that's Pedro. Okay, phenomenal gentleman, giving a shout out to his coach, his mentor, Victoria, who prepped him for interviews. And that's the conversation between Pedro and Victoria when he landed the job. Okay, so if you listen to Pedro, he said something very crucial. And I'm going to double down. I'll take my time on this a little bit. And I want everybody listening to learn from this. If you want to get sponsorship, don't only focus on jobs that come with sponsorship. Your journey can be like this. You start from here and immediately you get sponsored. Okay? Or it can start from here, you get a job, and after that job, you get sponsored. This was the route that Pedro took. Pedro took this route. And I always advise people as well to take this route. So if I had the opportunity to advise Deborah, I'd have told her, why go through 24 interviews for jobs that come with sponsorship? Why not get a job first of all? And if you listen to Pedro, he said, in his own words, he did not limit himself to the task expected of him. He went above and beyond to do more. And that's what we call stoop to conquer. I talked about that earlier. Get the job by stooping. Okay, you get in. They don't need to know you want sponsorship and all of that. You get that job and then deliver immense value. Go above and beyond. Show them you are indispensable. Show them if they lose you, they would struggle to find another candidate like you. And then you make your request for sponsorship. That was what Pedro did. And Pedro was able to land a visa sponsor job. If you only focus on route number one, which is I start my job search and I want to get sponsored immediately, it might be a little bit more difficult for you. Okay. But of course, if you have time constraints, say your visa is expiring very soon, then you want to take, that's the only route available for you. But if you have a year plus and all of that, my advice is don't just take one route, take two routes. Search for jobs where the companies have the license to sponsor. And I'll show you how to do that before we wrap up today. That was what Pedro did, and that was how he landed his job. Now, finally, number 4, I've shown you 3 things so far, and this is the 4th one, the final one on building your strategy. And then we're going to summarize, and I'll show you exactly the role Tenalytics plays in order to get this, and I'll show you how to get started from today. Okay, so we've talked about the jobs that are high in demand. We've talked about how to learn the skills in a project-based environment and also showcasing what you know how to do or what you've built by building a portfolio. Number 3, I showed you how to gain work experience through projects and also through internships. And number 4 is what? The job reference. A lot of people ignore this, but it comes back to bite them. Every company would want you to provide a reputable organization that can vouch for you. Every company would do a background check. They would ask, how you say you've worked on healthcare data. You're a healthcare data analyst. Show me, where did you do this job? Where did you learn how to use Excel? How did you use Excel? How have you used Power BI? Okay, and so on and so forth. And that's where the reference becomes important. This is a sample of a reference from the Southeast Hospitals NHS Foundation Trust. So this is reaching out to me. Dear Deza Suleiman, we are currently recruiting these candidates for a pathology data analyst role. Okay, and he has given us the permission to approach you for a reference. Can you provide a reference for him? You can do it in two ways. You can fill the form attached to the email, or you can simply click on this link to fill and complete the reference. Before you get settled on that role, every company would do a background check on you. So it's important for you to also have this. And that's why you'd see if you go to this gentleman that landed the job as a pathology data analyst with the Southeast NHS Foundation Trust, Tenalytics is part of his work experience. And that's the only way. You can only get a reference from where you have showcased the skills that you know how to use. Very important. All right. So these four things must be true. If you ask yourself the question, what must be true for me to land a job that comes with sponsorship, that comes with accelerated pathway to PR, and so on and so forth, a job that is high in demand, these four things must be true for that to happen. So summarizing, you must get into the right career path. Okay, get into the right roles. Not all jobs qualify for sponsorship. Some of them do. Get into the right one. I spelled my right wrongly. I'm just going to correct that very quickly. Okay. So get into the right career path. Very important. And then choose the right employers, which was what Pedro did. The stoop to conquer strategy. And you can do it in two ways. Again, you have the link right here of licensed sponsors. And you also have another link where I would show you something interesting. So if I click on this link, and again, like I mentioned earlier, if you want access to this slide with all the links, all the materials, all the amazing testimonials, make sure you fill the attendance and I'll share everything with you. Okay. So if you click on this link, it takes you to the list of licensed sponsors, register of licensed sponsors. And if I download this CSV file, I'd get the list of all the sponsors and I can start targeting them one after the other. But I don't just want to target blindly. I want to know the companies I'm targeting. So what I want to do is choose the companies that I know would give me sponsorship, which was what Pedro did. He chose a company that he knew would, has a high chance of giving him sponsorship because they usually give sponsorships. Okay. So I always like to ask this. If I have company A and company B, company A has given 2,000 COSs, certificates of sponsorship. They've given over 2,000. Company B has given only 5 certificates of sponsorship. Between company A and B, which one do you think would easily give me sponsorship? Company A or company B? Just type into the chat. A has given 2,000, B has given only 5. A, Nsima says A, Sanctus says A, JM, Oluwatosin says A, Julia, Justin, everybody says A, Elias says A. Absolutely. Because it's very clear that A easily sponsors compared to B. B has given just 5, which means what are the chances that I'll be the 6th person? Very low. But what are the chances that I'll be the 2001st person to get a COS? Very high, because this company seems to give a lot of sponsorship, right? So I want to know the companies that have given high number of sponsorships. And if I click on that link, it takes me there. Okay, so I'll show you what this looks like. If I click on this link, it takes me to this site, and I can look at the companies, the number of COSs that they've issued: 8,512, 8,310, 6,928, and so on and so forth. And I can start to tailor and focus. And how do you tailor and focus? 2 ways you can do this. I'm interested in getting a job with Cognizant. We have a lot of our alumni from Tenalytics working with Cognizant. Cognizant is one of the largest data consulting companies in the UK. So Cognizant, what will I do? I'd go to LinkedIn, which is one strategy. So one strategy is to go to LinkedIn. One is to go on Google. So I'll go to Google and I'll just simply type Cognizant. Okay, Cognizant is right there. Okay, but I'll tailor it a little bit more. I'll say Cognizant careers. I want to go to their career page, and then I'll look for the careers available, the openings and vacancies available. Okay, that's number one. The second way is I'll go on LinkedIn and I'll search for Cognizant on LinkedIn. Cognizant. I prefer this option because you can easily filter and tailor. So Cognizant, that's the company. I click on it. It takes me to the company's page. What do I want to see? I want to see jobs. So I click on jobs. Okay. I see the jobs they have opened, data analyst, and so on and so on. But what do I want? I want to go to, I'm going to go to more jobs. Okay. So recently posted, I'll go to show all jobs. So I want to see more jobs. All right. And I don't want to see worldwide because they're everywhere. I want to see only in the United Kingdom or in Canada, depending. I go to United Kingdom and I can see they have a data analyst role available. Okay. So what do? I apply. Why will I apply? Simply because I know even if this role, if I go to the description, there's nowhere where it says sponsorship. I know that Cognizant has issued thousands and thousands of COSs, and they can give me a COS if I show immense value. And that would always be your focus. Okay. So you'd see more roles available. You scroll all the way. Workday HCM, which is a HR related role, Workday principal, so many different other roles. Another company is Tata, for example. If you look at that list, you'll see where you have Tata Consultancy Services. Again, the same strategy. Okay, go to LinkedIn, type Tata Consultancy Services, go to the company page. All right, go to jobs, and of course, go to show more. You want to see all the jobs available. So show all jobs and you see the different jobs available. Business analyst. Again, you want to tailor it to your own specific location or region. Okay. United Kingdom, business analyst. I'm going to go ahead and apply, even though it doesn't say sponsorship. DevOps engineer. I'm going to go ahead and apply, even though it doesn't come with sponsorship, because I know that Tata has done what? They have issued over 6,928 COSs. So issuing an extra one would not be a challenge for them. This is part of the strategy you need to put into place. Never only focus on one specific pathway. Have a plan, have a backup for that plan, for your plan A. Okay. If possible, have a second backup and so on and so forth. So choosing the right employer is absolutely crucial. And that's one way you can do it. And of course, you must position yourself right. Like I mentioned earlier, and I've shown you from different success stories and different professionals, what did they do right? Okay. They had portfolios of multiple projects. They had experience to showcase that they had experience. And of course, they had optimized CVs, optimized LinkedIn profile, and so on. Your timeline is also crucial. Your time on your study, your post-study visa, your time on your postgraduate work permit is not time for you to wait. It's time for you to act. Very important. Okay. So always walk your way backwards from your visa expiry. When will my visa expire? Oh, in 2028, I have 2 years. I must start now. Okay, I'll gain experience as much as I can. I'm going to adopt the strategy Adeza has advised. And before I get to 2028, I've gotten that job that I want to get. And these are the things you need to put in place to land a job. It doesn't happen by chance. You must be strategic, following these steps one after the other. And I'm going to summarize everything to how Tenalytics helps you land visa sponsored jobs, how Tenalytics helps you land a job in Canada. I'll show, success stories for those in Canada, for those in the US, for those in France, for those in Ireland, across the globe, people that have gotten jobs following the same strategy that I've shown you. Okay. So your typical learning timeline at Tenalytics is for 6 months. And then you have 2 months internship with Amdari, the sister company to Tenalytics. And of course, Your classes, you have live classes on Saturdays. So if you're in the UK, for example, on a Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., you have a class, 3 hours on Saturdays, and that's it. During the week, you are on the LMS, the Learning Management System, where you get to learn at your own pace, at your own convenience, anywhere, any day, anytime. And I'll show you the platform. Okay. And for those in the US, North America, in Canada, your classes 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. The advantage for those in the UK is simple. It means that if I'm not available in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., I can join a class scheduled for those in the US, North America, and Canada, which would roughly be 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. UK time. So if you're not available in the morning, you can join in the evening. Your live classes once a week on Saturdays. That's all you need for your live classes. You do that for 6 months, and then you join the internship for 2 months, where you get to collaborate with other professionals and organizations to solve real world problems. Again, what we've seen is people don't wait for 6 months to land a job. 3 months into the program, you start applying to jobs. So last week, Saturday, somebody asked a very interesting question that Adeza, how do people get jobs in 3 months, in 4 months, in 5 months before they're even done with the program? How is it possible? And I told him something very simple. 3 months into the program, we would have optimized your CV for you. We would have optimized your LinkedIn for you. You would have gained certain set of skills. With those skills, would show you how to tailor your job application in a way that you look for organizations that require those skills at that point in time. Let me give a very typical example. Data analytics. Let's use that as an example. Within your first 3 months, you would have learned problem solving. Okay. You would have learned Excel. You would have learned SQL. Okay. And I think you'd have almost started Power BI. There are organizations that require just Excel and SQL from you. ICMAT, the lady I showed you earlier, I'm going to show you again. Let me take you to ICMAT's profile very quickly. ICMAT, this amazing professional that got a job with the NHS on visa sponsorship. The role required only Excel and SQL from her. In fact, she told them that she would be bringing in Power BI as an addition. Oh, you guys don't use Power BI. I'll bring in Power BI as a value add to this role. And that was how ICMAT was able to land that job. And this is how you also get a job even when you've not completed the program. So that's what we always do. And that's why the mentorship is powerful. If you're somebody who is, skeptical to apply, we push you to apply. If you're somebody who always gives excuses to hiring managers, you don't apply to jobs because you feel, okay, I don't meet all the requirements. They know who they want. They've put in the requirements out there. There's no point for me to apply. We push you to apply. And that's how people land jobs in 3 months, in 4 months, even before they are done with the program. Okay, so that's very crucial. So I'll take you to what the platform looks like. You have your live classes. You've seen what the live classes look like. I'll show you what your LMS, your learning management system. So anybody who joins, you jump into a learning management system like this. You have your own dashboard. Okay, so this is mine. Welcome back, Adeza. I'll show you how you get to learn on this platform. So you go to your class. What program did you register for? So let's say you registered for the full stack data science program, or you registered for business analysis. All you have to do is go to continue learning, and you have access to your class. You have access to all the different materials in your classroom. So let's take, for example, you want to learn, business analysis. I want to learn business analysis fundamentals and project initiation. I'll just come here on a Monday, on a Tuesday, any day of the week, and I can click on any of the links and I can watch a video. And I'm being taught by some of the best professionals across the globe. Okay, this is Vera. Vera is a business analysis facilitator. Vera is the team lead business analysis with Deloitte. Okay, and this is who is going to teach you to become a business analyst. All right, so you work on, you listen, you solve problems, you have a case study right here. So any day, anytime, you can come to the platform and you have lifetime access. So even when you are done, you've gotten a job like ICMAT, like RAMAT, everybody that has completed their program, you still have this as a resource. You can refer back to your class notes and so on and so forth. This is what your learning management system looks like. Okay, I want to learn gap analysis. I come here, go to my gap analysis, click on the video, and I can watch my video. I can practice along, I can solve problems, and I'm taught by some of the best professionals in the industry. One of the big fours, Deloitte, that's where Vera, who is your facilitator, she leads the business analysis department, and that's the person that will teach you to transition. If you have an interview, all you need to do is come to your dashboard. You don't need to speak to anybody. Go to interview prep and click on schedule mock interview. You fill all the details, select the interview stage, first stage, second stage, post the job URL, and of course the job description, and upload the CV that you've used to apply. And we will prepare you. Somebody will jump on a call with you and prep you for that interview. When do you want to have the interview? You select the date right here. Okay. And somebody comes, prepares you for that interview, preempts the questions you're likely going to get, and you jump into your interview. Okay. So these are some of the ways we prepare you on how to land that job. So first things first, you get into the right career path. You focus on that career path, and then we package you. Packaging is presenting and positioning you as the best candidate for the job. So we show you how to gain work experience. I talked about that already. We work on your CV for you. We revamp your CV. And then we show you how to tailor your CV. So if you go to one of the classrooms, I'm going to take you there and show you. So if you go to a classroom, you have access to, let me take you there. If you go to your classroom, right where you have important materials, you see where to upload your CV for revamp. So you upload your CV, we get the CV, we revamp the CV to the industry standard, the right keywords, and so on and so forth. And that's where, if you listen to Pedro, he said the CV review was a game changer for him because he started getting multiple interviews. And then we show you how to tailor your CV after revamping it for you. Okay. Then we show you your LinkedIn optimization, how to optimize your LinkedIn, building a portfolio, how to upload your project into your portfolio. And then you have your mentorship sessions. So your mentorship sessions happens every Thursday evenings, where you have the opportunity to interact with professionals, industry professionals, to help you transition. So myself, the co-founder, we bring in other industry professionals across the globe, and they come prep you. They hold your hands to helping you land the job. Okay. So you have your LinkedIn optimization, learning how to turn your projects into proof of experience, how to use the sit and start approach during interviews. Okay. The global talent immigration process. We had a mentorship session on that. How to navigate, how to negotiate salaries, and so on and so forth. These are the type of mentorship sessions that you get. Okay. And of course, you have your Upwork optimization and so on and so forth. Okay. And I've shown you your interview prep. If you have interviews, all you need to do, go to your dashboard, book your interview. We prep you for that interview. So you know that going into this interview, you are equipped with all the knowledge, the questions you're likely going to get asked. So you know what to say and present yourself as the best candidate. We provide you with a reference and, of course, on the job support. So after you've learned, we've packaged you, what next? We show you how to apply, where to apply to jobs, how to apply and where to apply, the number of applications you need to put in, and so on and so forth. Okay. So, for example, we subscribe and we pay to job boards that come with exclusive jobs with sponsorship. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay. So under your job offers in your classroom, if you go to job offers, you would see a spreadsheet of jobs that we have extracted and we've sent to you, and you go ahead to apply. So does it come with sponsorship? Yes, yes, likely, likely, yes. Okay. Does it come with sponsorship? Yes, 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 yes. So we scrape these jobs from paid job boards, and every Sunday we send them to you. You apply to these jobs before you go ahead to apply on other platforms. One of the platforms I always like to show is this. Let me show you. UK visa jobs, for example. Okay, so this is a platform that is you can apply for student, graduate, experience hire jobs with visa sponsorship. So we pay, so you don't have to pay. We vet the jobs, we script them, and we send them to you. All right. So I want to apply for a business analyst role that comes with sponsorship. I come here, business analyst. Okay. And I see the type of jobs available. All right. TPP is currently hiring for a business analyst, Vietnamese speaking Mandarin, Spanish. This is English. I click on that and I can see this is a business analyst role, £60,000, absolutely phenomenal salary. And I can go ahead and apply to this business analyst role. So what we do is we get the link and we send them to you in your classroom. And that's where you see something like this. So you go ahead and apply to these jobs before you go ahead and apply on the normal conventional job board, CV Library, read.co.uk, NHS jobs, and so on. So you get opportunities faster than your counterparts. And these are the things that help both our interns and also the people that get to work with us to land jobs a lot faster. Okay. So, and this job does not come with any experience, interestingly. So let's see this. If I click on this, for example, you'll see where they clearly indicated no experience required. All you need to do is to learn the skills, and all the skills they've listed here, these are skills you're going to learn with us. Requirement fundamentals, collaborating on projects with the software developers, that's internal stakeholders, designing new functionality, and so on. Okay, project management. You're going to learn how to use Jira, Trello, Confluence as a business analyst. I'll run through that for you. All right. And you can apply to this job. So many other, you want to apply to a data analyst role. You come in here, type data analyst, and you see the jobs available. The NHS is currently recruiting for a data analyst antimicrobial pharmacy team. Interesting. So you see some interesting job titles. Okay, let's click on that and see. So it's closing on the 9th. That's on Monday. So anybody who wants to apply, you can apply. But imagine you have the skills. Imagine you have the preparation for this job. You know how to apply, how to tailor your CV to this application where an interview is guaranteed for you. Okay. So if you scroll all the way down, you'd see certificate of sponsorship, applications from job seekers who require the current skilled worker sponsorship to work in the UK are welcome and will be considered. So you see, these are the jobs we post across. You want to get a job as a data engineer, you come here, type project manager, you type, and we send these jobs to you. Okay. So this is how you get easy access. So you don't have to go pay to any website. We pay, we get the jobs, and we vet and send to you. That is what we call tapping into the paid and the hidden job market. We also have our partners that reach out to us to request for CVs. We send them those CVs and you get called for interviews. We prep you for those interviews. You land a job a lot faster. All right. And all these things I've mentioned, learn, package, apply. That's what enables you get the job. That's what helped Mawutin. Mawutin was an operations manager, but today Mawutin is a pathology data analyst in the UK. Mawutin joined, he followed the learn, package, apply. He joined data analytics. He got a job as a pathology data analyst with the NHS on full visa sponsorship. Okay, that's Mawutin's job description. The South Seas Hospital NHS Trust, Division of Pathology. I wrote Mawutin's reference. Whoops, sorry, somebody muted me. I don't know how long I've been muted. I'll take it a step back. Let me take it a step back. Okay, I don't know how long I was muted, but I'll go back to Mawutin. Let me check the charts if I was muted for just a few seconds. Okay, thank you very much, William. So Mawutin was an operations manager. He got a job as a pathology data analyst in the UK. He followed all the things I've shared so far. Learn, package, apply. And of course, he landed his job with the NHS, visa-sponsored job. Moved from operations management to what? Pathology data analyst. The same process that I've explained to you. Mawutin worked on healthcare-related projects. So even though he had no healthcare background, he got a job in healthcare as a pathology data analyst. Why? Because he had worked on healthcare projects while he was learning. The same way I explained to you. You work in a project-based environment by doing the real job. That was how Mawutin got his job. Let's go to Mawutin's profile very quickly. Let's see Mawutin. Fantastic professional. So that's Mawutin. Again, you both worked at Tenalytics. Mawutin was a support worker before he got that job. And you would see data analyst consultant with Tenalytics before he started the job with the NHS as a pathology data analyst. You have Abigail. Abigail came to Canada. She lived in Saskatchewan as a care worker. She worked in care. Today, Abigail works with the government of Alberta as a business analyst. Her job title is Supervisor Business Services and Data Analytics. You have Toyin. Toyin, she was a pharmacist back in Nigeria, came to the UK. Today, Toyin is a pharmacy data analyst with the NHS, also on visa sponsorship. You have Judith. Judith was a carer back in the UK. Today, she's a business analyst working for a company in the US remotely from the UK. You have somebody like Pavel. Pavel is a Cameroonian, moved from Cameroon to the US. Okay, wanted to land a job, joined our data analytics program. Last year, March 2025, Pavel landed a job as a healthcare data analyst. The same way I've explained so far, Pavel worked on what? Healthcare related projects. And that was how he got this job as a healthcare data analyst. So for everybody saying, how do I become a healthcare data analyst, healthcare informatics analyst, and so on? This is how you do it. You must work as a healthcare data analyst, healthcare informatics analyst, which means you're working on medical data, clinical data, healthcare data to understand the metrics, the language, the terminologies, the insights you need to share, and you must have evidence for that as well in your portfolio. Okay. You have Esther. Esther, from a care worker to a contract project officer. She joined our Agile project management program and she was able to transition. So many professionals. You have Abednego, moved from Ghana, came to Canada, currently lives in Winnipeg and works with the Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Services as a quality improvement analyst. You have Amaka. She joined our HR analytics program. She's in Canada, currently works as a HR data analyst with Sask Energy in Saskatchewan. Toyin moved to Canada in less than a year. She moved to Canada last year. She got a job as a project coordinator before she completed her Agile project management program with us. And so many other professionals in the US. so many other professionals across Europe. You have Christian, who is in Nigeria, got a job as a data processor and analyst with Market Trends International. You have William. William also did not make the mistake of waiting until he was done with his master's. While he was doing his master's, he joined our program. Today, William got a job as a strategy analyst with Marsh McLennan in Poland, in Europe. You have Chukwuebuka, who joined our cybersecurity program from Ireland. He got a job as a security operations analyst with a company in Ireland. And of course, you have Vanessa, who is in France. Vanessa got a job as a data analyst. She joined our data science program, but got a job as a data analyst. She did not apply to the job. The moment she was done with her LinkedIn optimization, a company reached out to her, which is what we typically see. When you optimize your LinkedIn profile, companies start to reach out to you. They headhunt you because not all companies would expect that you apply. They headhunt you and they reach out to you. She thought it was a scam when they reached out to her, but we advised her, take the interview, hear from them. And today, Vanessa works as a data analyst with that company in France. Okay, so all the links are here on my slide. You have the access to listen to them. I can't play all the videos for you, unfortunately, because of time. So the big question is, how do I start today? Okay, if I want to start my journey today, how do I start? There's I also have questions. I'd love to answer. I'd love to ask questions and so on. Okay, but one thing I want to showcase: the next cohort starts March 7th. The February cohort started today, the 7th of February. The next cohort would start on Saturday, the 7th of March. So you want to get into the next cohort. You want to get into the March cohort. Or for anybody who wants to join the February cohort that starts today, if you make payment today, you can still start the February cohort that started today, the 7th of February. So you don't want to wait until the cohort in March. You want to start your journey today. Okay, you can still start your journey and I'll show you how to get started. But one thing I want to mention is you can't stay where you are. You have to make a change. You can't sit down in this call and listen, hear all the advice. You know what to do, but you still struggle to make that change. You need to make a change in 2026. It breaks my heart when I see people who have to move back to their country because they couldn't land a job, or people who are doing the jobs they don't want to do because they cannot land a job. The strategy is not more than what I've shown you so far. Okay. The only difference is we work with you to get you there. You don't have to figure things out yourself. Even when you have questions during classes, say you're watching your video or you are solving something, you always have support every single time. And I'll show you what that looks like. So let's assume I'm trying to, I missed a class on Saturday. Okay. I missed a class on Saturday. I'm watching the recording of the class on a Tuesday, for example, and I see something that is confusing. All I need to do is go to my classroom and I can book a call. I book a drop-in session. And on Tuesday, I can book a call. Somebody joins a call with me, walks me through the things I missed, and I'm back up to speed. So you don't figure this thing out yourself. We work with you to ensure that you get to that point, you get that job, you get that interview, you get that promotion at the end of the day. So every day of the week, you have somebody you can book a call and somebody would work with you and help you out if you missed a class or you are confused about something. So you are never left alone. Okay, so you have your live classes on Saturdays. Every other day, you're on the LMS, you're watching your videos, solving problems. If you have issues, you can book a call, and an amazing professional will jump on a call with you and help you address any issues that you have. Okay, so for things to change, you have to make a change. Very important. So, how do you get started? So, for all the programs I've listed for business analysis, data analytics, DevOps, healthcare data analyst, the health tech role, all those programs, the original amount is $1,250. But we have an amazing discount. Instead of $1,250, you get to pay just $1,000. So you get 20% right off the bat. And for those who want to start this February, you don't want to wait till March. You want to start now in February because the cohort started today in February, the February cohort. You can get started. Okay. Now, what if I want to start in another month? The advantage is if you take advantage of the discount is not always available in all the cohorts. We've had instances where people come back and say, "Hey, Adez, I was on a call with you, and I realized that the price is different. Now they're telling me I have to pay $1,250." Yes, because the discount is no longer available. All right. So I'm going to show you how to start. I'll show you for those who are interested in making payments, you want to join the February cohort or you want to join the cohort that starts on the 7th of March. The discount is for the first 20 people to register. I'll show you how to register. I'll come back, we'll take questions, and then we call it a day. Now, for those who want to reach out, you want to, ask questions about something regarding maybe you're having issues with payments, you can send an email to enquiries@10analytics.io or admission@10analytics, or you can send a WhatsApp message to any of my colleagues on these numbers, any of these numbers, or you can call us on any of these numbers. Okay, so you can take a screenshot of this page. It's a very important page for you, and I'll show you how to get started. Okay, so all you have to do, if you click on this link right here, it takes you into the enrollment center. All right, so I'm going to take you to, I'll show you how this works. Let's go to the enrollment center. Okay, so I'm going to click on the link. Let's go to the enrollment center. So you see the different courses: data analytics, business analysis, financial analytics. You come in right here: HR, agile project management, DevOps, health tech, product design, and so on. So let's say, for example, I want to register for business analysis. I click on buy now. It takes me to where I can enroll. Okay. So I click on enroll and then I enter my details, enter my first name, enter my email. I'll use a different email. Okay, just give me 1 second and I'll show you how to use an email. Okay, you enter your email and all your details and then you get started. I've registered with this email, so I don't want to use the same email so that you'd see clearly how it would show up on your own page when you're trying to apply. Okay, so let's use this email. So I enter my email, I enter my phone number, select that I've read the terms and conditions, and I create accounts. Okay, so the moment I create an account, you'd see that you can still start with the February cohort, but today it closes today if you want to start in February. All right. If you don't want to start, if you don't want to get started right away in February, you want to start with the March cohort, you select the March cohort. Now, the beauty about the payment options, you have a flexible payment option, up to 5 monthly payments. Okay. So if I want to pay in 5 monthly payments, which means, oh, Adeza, do you mean I don't have to pay $1,000 to start? Absolutely. You don't have to pay $1,000. You can pay $200 to start and you pay $200 in 5 months. So you pay $200 today to get started, and then you pay the next one the next month, $200 the subsequent month, and so on. However, if I make a one-time payment, instead of paying the discounted $1,000, I get an additional savings and I get to pay only $850. So in total, I'm saving $400 by making a one-time payment. If I make 2 monthly payments, I still get additional savings. Instead of paying $1,000, which is the 20% discount, I get to pay $900, and I can pay my $900 in 2 monthly payments. All right. And of course, if I'm paying in 5 installments, I get to pay $1,000, which is the 20% off, and I get to make my payments in 5 months. So it's very flexible for you. All you need to do is select the option that best suits your your preference, essentially. So this 20% savings for you, 28% savings, and this is a whopping 32% savings. Okay. And of course, you can select the currency. You want to make payments in Canadian dollars, you select that. You want to make payments in pounds, you select that. So if I'm paying in pounds, my 20% discount is 766 pounds. But if I pay in 2 installments, I get to pay a total of 690, which is extra savings for me. Instead of 766, I pay 690. And instead of paying 766, 690, if I make a one-time payment, I pay just 651, which is 315 pounds savings altogether. So I'm interested in making a one-time payment. So I save as much as I can, or I want to make 2 monthly payments. Okay, so I save 28% of the discounts. So I click on apply discounts. It takes me to the payment page and I confirm that my details are correct. Okay, so you can see the details. Now, the interesting thing about 2 payments or 5 payments, monthly payments, is if my salary doesn't come on the 7th of March, so I make the first payment today, but my next payment doesn't come on the 7th of March. It comes on the 20th or 25th. I can change it here. So I come to edit. Whoops. Okay. This is going to be fixed. Let me see. Okay, still giving me a bug at the moment. All right. So you can either change it here or you can change it in your LMS. Okay, so it's giving a bug because of the flexible payment options we implemented today. But if you don't change it here, you leave it here, you can always change it on your dashboard after you've started your journey. So I make my first payment today. Second payment comes on the 7th of March. Selects my information is correct. I've read the terms and conditions and I click on pay now. So I make my first payment. I enter my card, my credit or debit card information. Okay, enter this very quickly. So I enter my credit or debit card, enter my postcode, and then I click on pay. And the moment I click on pay, let me see, my card was declined. Oh, okay. I know what happened. Okay, my card was declined. So once you've done that and you've made your payments, you get access to your dashboard. So I'm just going to show you that very quickly. Okay, so I'll show you that very quickly so you have an idea on how to get this done yourself. Okay, so I'm going to create an account. So once you've made payments, you enter, an OTP will be sent to you. So when you enter your credit card, your debit card, you get an OTP. You enter the OTP right here. Mine is 615697. And I click on verify email. So check your spam folder, check your spam folder, check your inbox. You will find the OTP. Okay, so you get the OTP. Once you do that, it takes you into your dashboard. Okay, it takes you into your dashboard, and that's how you get registered. All right, so I'm going to take a breather at this point, and I'm going to take questions. Okay, so if you have questions, I'll take your questions, and I'd love to hear the questions you have. So let me try my OTP one more time. Okay, so once you confirm your OTP, verifies your email, you enter your country of residence, United Kingdom, that's where I'm paying from. You enter that. You select your gender, male, female, indicate when do you want to start in terms of your classes. If you're in the UK, you want to select the BST, British Summertime, 11 a.m. How did you find out about us? You heard about us on LinkedIn. you heard about us on YouTube, or Google job mentorship, Adaiza Suleiman, select any of the options right here. So let's say LinkedIn, for example. What made you register? Enter the details right there. I was impressed with the structure of the program. The testimonials were fantastic. How much time do you want to commit? We always recommend at least 1 hour per day. So 4 to 6 hours per week or 7 to 10 hours per week. Click on complete setup, and the moment you complete setup, it will take you into your dashboard. So you have access to your dashboard. You'll be required to complete an onboarding and so on and so forth. And you'd also be able to check and change the dates of your next payment from your billing history if you want to make a change. All right. So I'm going to take questions. If you want to, I'm going to check from the chat first of all, and then I'll go back to those who want to unmute to ask questions. All right. So let me start with Ayola. Ayola is asking, please, I would like to know if business analysis course includes Power BI and SQL. Yes, Ayola, it includes Power BI and SQL. And I'm going to show you what you would learn, okay, in when you join the business analysis program. So let's go to BA very quickly, and you'd see what you get to learn when you join business analysis. So the business analysis program, you start with your data skills. This is to answer your last question. You start from Excel, Power BI, and SQL. That's the data part of the business analyst's responsibility. Then you move into process mapping, project initiation, Agile and Scrum for project. So this is the project management part of business analysis, software development lifecycle, requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis and engagement, AI for the business analyst using charts, GPT. Okay. And these are the different key learning areas for the business analyst. Okay. So for you to also easily find this, Ayola, who asked the question, if you go to the website, it's also clearly indicated there. If you go to courses, under courses, if I go to business analysis, for example, and I go to the curriculum, I can see where it all starts from. Okay. So Excel, Power BI, I'm also going to learn SQL and so on and so forth. Okay. So that's Ayola's question. Ayola, I hope I answered your question. Okay, so let me take more questions from the chat, and then I'll take questions from those who have their hands up. What's the difference between BA and Agile project management? Fantastic, very good question. Okay, now these are two different roles. The business analyst does two things, or let's say three things in an organization. And let me try to explain that. I'm just going to create a separate page, and I'll walk you through that very quickly. Okay, so the business analyst focuses on something. Every company has people, processes, and technology. Every organization, the business analyst focuses on what? Processes. So what they do in any organization is to identify and map out processes to identify gaps and inefficiencies. So if a process takes 5 days to complete, where are the gaps in this process, the inefficiencies, and so on and so forth? So they map out the process from point A to point B. How does this process start and how does it end? Where are the gaps? Where are the inefficiencies? And how do I optimize this process? So that rather than taking 5 days, if I take out the gaps and I take out the inefficiencies, this process now takes 5 minutes. And in getting this done, taking a process from 5 days to 5 minutes because of the manual process, which makes it inefficient, we need to implement some form of automation. So maybe building a software or buying a technology that we need to implement into the organization. The business analyst will be responsible for analyzing the business, identifying the type of tools or technology or automation required to take the process that used to take 5 days to now take 5 minutes. The business analysts would not build this automation themselves, but they would work with the business and the technology team. So the business analyst is in between the business and the technology team. What does the business need to optimize this process? And communicate that to the technology team to build that automation. And the BA would ensure that the automation works within the organization. People know how to use it by carrying out workshops, training with that particular tool or application so that the change actually happens within the organization. Okay. Now, in the process of building that automation, building that software, building that technology that the tech team would build, you also have the agile project manager in between. The agile project manager is responsible for managing technology projects. So you see those apps, the apps you have on your phone, the Zoom we are using today, the different tools and technologies that we use today, those applications and tools and software were managed by agile project managers to ensure that when that tool is built, it meets the requirements set by the organization and it meets the requirements of the users of that particular application. So the project manager focuses 100% on the project, managing that project to ensure that whatever product we build, it meets the timeline, the budget, and the needs of the organization and also the users. While the business analyst, on the other hand, identified the reason why we need to build that particular product or that particular technology by analyzing the process, analyzing the business, and identifying that this thing takes too long. We can do it better by implementing this technology. And that's where the project manager comes in to manage the project. The business analyst ensures that at the end of everything, what we have built leads to change within the organization. I don't know if that helps to separate the two and explain the two technologies. Humphrey is currently a data engineer. Okay, I'm currently doing a data engineering role. Though I wanted data analytics, I found myself here. What are my chances of landing a remote job within 3 months of joining? So, Humphrey, data engineering is quite different from data analytics, okay? But the advantage that you have is you understand SQL as a data engineer, okay? You understand SQL as a data engineer. So that, and you understand data itself, the fundamentals of data, the foundations, and so on and so forth. So your learning curve would be a lot shorter than somebody who is starting from the beginning. All right. So while it might take someone who is starting from scratch, because the curriculum is built with the beginner in mind, we expect that you don't come in with any experience. Just like Ramat, who was in customer service, she had no experience, but today she's a business architect. So we'd expect you to come in with no experience. But if you have experience, it plays to your advantage because your learning curve would be short. You currently have SQL as a skill, as a tool. You would need to learn Excel. You would need to learn Power BI. You would need to learn Tableau. You would need to learn data storytelling. You would need to learn Microsoft's, let's call it MS Fabric. Okay. Now, can you do this in 3 months? Yes, you can, but it's a tall order. It's going to be a tall order for you because you are learning multiple technologies within a very short period of time. So what you can do is you can go ahead of the class through your LMS, the learning management system. Okay. And you attend the live classes just to interact with your facilitator and so on. However, you would need to spend, more time doing on the LMS than in your live classes for you to make the transition. But because you have the foundation already, it's going to be a lot easier for you to transition. How many references will Tenalytics give? As many as you need. Jaqua is asking, so if you get a job today and you get another job another day, we give you references all through. And I'll show you somebody who has done that practically. Okay. Idris. I hope I'm still connected with him. Idris at DBC. So this gentleman, Idris at DBC, at the time he joined us about 3 years ago or so as a data engineer, we helped him land this job with Jaguar Land Rover in the UK. So he got a job with Jaguar Land Rover in Coventry in the UK. He joined our data engineering program. All the things we've done, we mentioned, we did all of that, provided a reference for him. Okay. Now, he got another job in 2024 as a senior analytics engineer. So he left Jaguar Land Rover and he moved to QuantSpark. He came back for a reference and we provided a reference for him. And there's so many people like that. So some of them are doing their masters, they need a reference. Their PhDs, they need a reference. We provide that for you. Okay. Can you talk more on healthcare data analyst? Fantastic. So the healthcare data analyst role is a fantastic career path. Anybody who wants to move into that role, if you are a nurse, you are a care worker, you are a nurse practitioner, you are a physician, you are a medical doctor, the healthcare data analyst role is fantastic for you. And that's simply because you work on the same tools and technologies like the data analyst. Okay, so you work on problem solving, Excel for health tech, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, data storytelling, ChatGPT for analytics, and Microsoft Fabric. But your projects would be focused on healthcare projects. So you'd learn data privacy, you'd learn how to manage data based on the GDPR. You work on projects within healthcare. And of course, you'd work on projects outside healthcare so that you have the opportunity to, occupy diverse roles. However, your focus would be on healthcare related data. Okay, so that's the difference for you. So there's so many professionals, and I've shown you them: healthcare data analysts, pathology data analysts. This is how you get there. You are using Excel, you are using SQL, you are using Power BI, you are using Tableau, Microsoft Fabric, data storytelling, and so on and so forth to do what? Work on healthcare related data. And that's how you make the transition. I hope that answers your question. Do you have any testimony of persons who have secured roles abroad from Africa that came with visa sponsorship? Absolutely. So what you want to do, and I'm going to show you this very quickly. Okay. I can't play all the testimonials on the call. I'm going to play one more before we wrap up. Okay. I want you to go to YouTube. All right. Go to YouTube and search for Tenalytics. So go to YouTube, search for Tenalytics on YouTube. Tenalytics. So once you search for Tenalytics on YouTube, make sure you subscribe so you get all the videos, access to all the videos. Click on the logo right here. Okay. And you would see Tenalytics Alumni Job Success Stories. Click on that. You have almost 200 videos of professionals that have landed jobs from across the globe. For example, this is a 60-year-old man who got a job with the Home Office as a health and safety data analyst after joining our program in business analysis. 60-year-old. Okay, you have Adebola, who was a support worker. Today, she's a business analyst. You have Ahmed. Ahmed is in Egypt, currently works with IBM. I talked about Vanessa in France, Toyin in Canada, so many professionals. Okay, this is Gad, who landed a job with the NHS as an ETL, data warehouse and ETL developer, and so many numerous professionals. Okay, this is Chukwebuka, who is in Ireland. This is Bukola, who is in the US. This is Esther in the UK, and so on and so forth. So you have all the testimonials right here. This is Zainab, who got a job from Nigeria, got a job from Nigeria as a data manager. She used to work in the bank. She joined, got a job as a data manager. Okay. I didn't see anything on the website. It's there. So if you go to the website, tenalytics.io, click on courses. Okay. Click on courses, scroll all the way down, and you'd see health tech. Okay. That's the healthcare data analyst role. Mastery of Excel, Power BI, SQL, Tableau, Microsoft Fabric. So if you click on that, it takes you to the health tech program, which is the healthcare data analyst. Okay. What would you recommend for someone that studied logistics, supply chain? For a start, data analytics is the best path for you to take. So you can get a job as a logistics analyst, supply chain analyst, demand planner, and so on and so forth. Okay. One thing you can also do, for those of you, I can see quite a number of you have registered already, and you've indicated you want to start today, which is fantastic, which means you can join the cohort that started today. Your next live class is next week, Saturday, on the 14th of February. But you get access to the learning management system. Okay. Now, for those of you that have questions that maybe we did not answer or we can't answer in this session, what I'll suggest for you to do is, in your groups, you're going to receive an email. If you fill the attendance form, you get a link to book a clarity session. So you can join a clarity session. Now, the only thing is, if you join the clarity session and you get your questions answered and you miss out on the discounts, because the discount is for the first 20 people, that usually happens. So I always advise, get started, make your first payment. If you're making 2 installments, for example, make the first payment, come into the clarity session, get your questions answered, and then you can get started. Okay. What would you recommend for a ceramic technician? Nothing. I can't recommend. Your ceramic technician has nothing to do with any career path we've discussed today. So sometimes your career path would have nothing to do with where you're moving into. For me, myself, I studied industrial chemistry. It has nothing to do with data analytics. And that's why I always advise, select one of the programs you're interested in and go all in. Okay. So that's where the focus comes in. Focus is not you doubling down and doing something. Focus is on you eliminating alternatives. It is you saying that I could have gone for data science, but I want to do data analytics. So when you choose data analytics, what do? You eliminate the alternatives. Okay. So that's the most important thing you need to think of, because a lot of people get into analysis paralysis, which is, oh, I want to do data analytics at the same time I want to do business analysis. All right. So what you want to do is pick one, focus on that, eliminate the alternatives, and that's where you get the best results from. Now, if you have confusion on, oh, I don't know if I should do data analytics or business analysis, I would like to ask more questions. Then you can book a clarity session with us. One of our career coaches would help you answer all those questions, and you will have the opportunity to get all the clarifications you need. The only drawback to that is you might miss out on the discount for the first 20 people. What's the difference between data analytics and healthcare data analytics? Nothing. You learn the same tools, you learn the same technologies. The only difference is this. iPhone is asking the question. As a data analyst, I can work on sales data. I can work on commercial data. I can work on research data. I can work on project data. But as a healthcare data analyst, my focus is on what? Healthcare data. That's all. I have no business with the customers of the company. A data analyst can work on customer data as well. Okay, so I want to create a customer segmentation model. I want to know the demographics of my customers and so on and so forth. But a healthcare data analyst does not care about all these different types of data. They only care about what? Healthcare data. So that's the difference. You're going to learn the same Excel, the same Power BI, the same SQL, the same Tableau, the same Microsoft Fabric, the same data storytelling. The difference is the type of data that you analyze and you focus on. Okay. I hope I answered your question, iPhone. Fantastic. What would you suggest for someone who wants to go for AML KYC? AML KYC is very streamlined, anti-money laundering and so on. That's very streamlined. What advice you can, consider, two career paths you can consider, Tony. The first one is GRC in cybersecurity. Okay, GRC in cybersecurity. The other one would be financial analytics. Okay, so as a financial analyst, you are a data analyst. For iPhone that asks the question, I want you to take a wild guess. If a HR data analyst works on healthcare data, what type of data does a financial analyst work on? Wild guess. If a HR data analyst works on healthcare data or works with healthcare data, financial, absolutely, Oluchi. A financial analyst would work with what? Financial data. So you learn the same financial, the same tools like the data analyst, your Excel, your Power BI, your SQL, and then you learn some accounting and financial fundamentals, okay? Like scenario analysis, sensitivity analysis, you understand cost benefit analysis, you understand how to create and build a financial model. Apart from the core financial areas you'd learn as a financial analyst, the tools you would learn how to use to analyze the data is simply the same tools the data analyst would use. The difference is your focus is on financial data, not all the different types of data you'd find in an organization and so on. Same with the HR analyst. The HR analyst is a data analyst that focuses on HR data. So they get people data from recruitment, data from employee engagement, data from productivity, and employee data. Those type of data are the types of data that the HR analyst would work with. Okay, but they are all data analysts at the core. All right. For how long do I have access to the LMS? It's lifetime access when you join. Lifetime access. Okay, so you're never taken out of the LMS, even when you're done with your program. You have the opportunity to always come back, use the LMS as a reference all through. Tony is saying, I'm currently studying MSc project management. I've done virtual assistant before. I previously worked as a direct sales agent in the bank in Nigeria before moving to the UK. How do I juggle all this? How do I juggle all this with agile project management? Also, I'm working as a carer for survival now. Agile project management is your best bet, Tony. Okay, so you're doing your masters. A good complement to that is your agile project management. So you go for that, you learn, you build a portfolio, you work on real world projects, you do your internship, and by the time you are done, you have what it takes to do the job, and you also have something that is good, is a bragging right for your portfolio, for your profile, which is, oh, I have a master's from, I don't know the university you're currently enrolled in, but it's good for your bragging rights in your profile for your master's, and you would get to learn the skills required to do the job as an agile project manager. So that's the best bet for you, Tony. Okay, what would you suggest for someone who has a master's by research in leadership and strategy? There are so many areas you can consider easy. Okay, leadership and strategy, data analytics, leadership and strategy, business analysis. Those are two areas you can consider right off the bat. Okay, one thing that can help you distinguish between Which one should I go for? As a business analyst, you can't be an introvert because as a business analyst, you are going to manage stakeholders, you are going to create focus group sessions, you are going to hold change management sessions, you would lead projects from the front, you'd make presentations, and so on and so forth. So, as a business analyst, you are leading from the front, you are vocal, you are interviewing, carrying out elicitation, eliciting information, and so on and so forth, which requires interviewing skills, interpersonal skills. You'd manage internal and external stakeholders, and so on and so forth. Okay. So if you're somebody who is not outgoing, you are an introvert, data analytics might suit you a little bit more. And that's simply because as a data analyst, yes, you will make presentations, but you'll not be out there like the business analyst. All right. And as a data analyst, you are more focused on using your tools and technologies, analyzing data, coming up with recommendations, and presenting your findings to the team, to your team lead, the key stakeholders. But as a business analyst, on the other hand, your focus is more on change, leading change within the organization. You can't change things by leading from the back, you lead from the front. So once you've done your process mapping, gap analysis, you've seen where the problems are, you recommend we need this technology, you will work with the team, both the business and the team, to first of all understand what the business needs. So you'd elicit information, gather requirements, hold interviews with the key stakeholders, heads of units, head of departments, different units. This requires interviewing. It can be virtual, it can be live. Okay, so that's where you have to be what? Out there a little bit more than the data analyst. But for what you said in research and leadership, masters by research in leadership and strategy, those are the two areas I can recommend: data analytics, business analysis. Okay. What is your advice? I'm a bus driver. Everyone here is so learned. You don't need to have any specific skills, to be very honest. Okay. In terms of when you say learned, I'm sure you went to high school, you went to maybe you have some form of postgraduate, some form of diploma, graduate diploma, or something around that. Okay, as long as you have that, you're not likely going to have a challenge. You can get a job without a master's. You can get a job without a university degree. Okay, clearly. However, most of the jobs you'd see out there require some sort of higher education. So either a graduate diploma or a post-secondary diploma or some form of higher education. Okay, because you'll be competing with people that have those requirements. Right. So we've taken a lot of questions. Insima has had their hand up for a while. So I'm going to ask Insima to unmute to ask your question. And then I want to play one more video before we wrap up for the day. So Insima, please go ahead. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
How are you doing today,
Good
Insima?
evening. So,
Good evening. Where are you joining
um,
from, Insima?
from the UK.
From the UK. All right,
Yeah.
go ahead, please.
So I'm actually an ex-student.
Okay.
I did a bootcamp in 2023.
Oh,
But I did data analytics. But I didn't quite um stay on it after the bootcamp, because of the
okay.
pressure of getting visa sponsorship at the time. And I
Okay.
just completed my degree.
Okay.
So I was running short of time to pursue job sponsorship in data, so I had to get a hold on something else
Okay.
and have gone off pace for all that long. But I'm pretty much looking to get back at it again. But with the changing um, immigration climate in the UK,
Yes. Yes.
especially with data analytics and all that. I'm I'm trying to understand if there's a prospect of gaining something in data analytics with a future for indefinite leave to remain? Because I understand data analytics is now in the temporary shortest list.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the future like to get a job that will not that will lead to settlement in with data analysis?
Okay. Is that all the questions you have for me, Sima?
Yeah, and does healthcare data analysis guarantee that future since it's within the healthcare sector, or let's say more like NHS? Because I'm kind of like targeting NHS. So I don't know if healthcare data analytics within healthcare or within the NHS
Yeah.
guarantees that future for indefinite leave to remain of the 5 years
Yeah.
route.
Yeah. Fantastic question. Okay, so first things first, the changing immigration climate. And this is why I always tell people that when you have, it's been a time of chaos for so many people. Oh, I'm a data analyst. I cannot get sponsorship anymore. Oh, I heard it's something on the shortage occupation. Facts are always your friends in this particular scenario. What are the facts? That's what you need to understand. Now, let me walk you through what we know and what I'd consider as facts. Question number one, can I get visa sponsorship as a data analyst? Yes. Question number two, can I get sponsorship as a data analyst, be on a 5-year pathway if nothing changes, be on a 5-year pathway to ILR? Yes. Can I get sponsorship as as somebody who has done data analytics and of course get a job with sponsorship with no restriction? The answer is yes, and I'll show you how. Okay, very simple, and we'll go through this together. Let's go back to the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa. Are you still with me in Sima?
Yeah.
All right, brilliant. So if I go to code 3544, code 3544 is data analyst. All right. But if you go to the skill level, it says medium skilled. Do you know why it's called why it's medium skilled rather than higher skilled? Because of
Yeah,
what you
because
said.
it's below RQF level 6.
Level 6, exactly. It's RQF level 5. Now, it was moved to the temporary shortage list. But this is where a lot of people make the mistake. Because I did data analytics, everybody I showed you today, most of the people, 90% of the people that did data analytics did not get jobs as data analysts. Okay, number one, and this is where you start to understand the process of applying to jobs. When applying to jobs, you apply to jobs on a broad scale, not on a specific scale. So let me show you one very quickly. ICMAT. I think ICMAT was one I showed earlier. ICMAT did data analytics, but what's her job role with the NHS? Information analyst. Are you still with me in SIMA?
Yeah.
Information analyst. That's her job role. Now, as a data analyst, tell me any other career path you think a data analyst can get from your own research, from your own findings, anyone at all that you know of.
Um, IT
If you
annual
don't know, I can help you. Okay.
IT analyst or
IT analyst, fantastic. Business
health
intelligence analyst,
business intelligence analyst, yeah.
information analyst, just like
Business
ICMAT,
business
right?
intelligence developer.
Fantastic. Power BI developer, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. Now, on the same website that has the eligible occupations that says if your job title is data analyst, you get sponsorship, but it comes with restriction. Now, what's the restriction? You can't apply with your dependents. That's the only restriction. So you get access to sponsorship, but you can't apply with a dependent. Okay. But I don't need to get a job that comes with a data analyst job title. As a data analyst, just like ICMAT, I can get a job as an information analyst. So I use this tool on the UK website called the Cascot Occupation Coding Tool. I click on that link. This is what the UK government uses to categorize different job roles or job titles that are not indicated on that particular the website for the eligible occupations. I can get a job as a business intelligence analyst, right? As a data analyst, and I type business intelligence analyst, and I want to see the code. Okay, so the closest code to this is 2431 at an 84% what's it called now? 84% convenience ratio. Let's just use that, okay? Convenience score. Okay. Now I go to 2431. I take this code. I've studied data analytics, but I got a job as a business intelligence analyst. The code is what? 2431. I go back to the eligible occupations and I go to 2431. And that's the code right there. Now, what does this mean? A business intelligence analyst role, I can get it by doing data analytics because business intelligence analyst uses three major technologies. They use Excel, they use Power BI, and they use SQL. Those are the three major technologies for the BI analyst. Excel for data analytics, Power BI for business intelligence, and SQL for data warehousing. Okay. But it is categorized as 2431. And it is what? Higher skilled. Now, let's check the other one. The same role ICMATS got, or Power BI developer. Okay, I think you mentioned that as well. So I come back here again, I click on this, and I type Power BI developer. And I want to see the code. The code is 2134. Excuse me. I go to the eligible occupation, 21. Sorry, I think I missed it.
2134.
34. Okay, I go back. 2134. 2134. And that's it. 2134 is what? Higher skilled. So what the Home Office would look at is not just the job title. They look at the job title and they look at the responsibilities of what the job entails when matching it to the code. Okay. So that's when you search for jobs like this, that's what you do essentially.
Right.
Not that, oh, data analyst is on the shortage occupation, which means if I have data analytics skills, I can never get a job again. No, you will get a job and you can't get a job. The difference is, what are my job responsibilities? What's the job title? As a data analyst, I can work in multiple positions: Power BI developer, business intelligence analyst, information analyst, and so on. Let's check information analyst and see.
Did you check healthcare data analyst or health tech?
Whoops. Let's see healthcare informatics. Okay. This is 1171, but the confidence score is very low.
Yeah.
Let me check healthcare data. Okay, so this is 3544. Okay, or healthcare data reporting analyst. Like I said earlier, what the focus would be on is on the job responsibilities.
Yeah.
What are you doing regarding to that role, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is 2431. I think similar to the one that we just saw, and so on.
Yeah.
Health tech. If there's anything like that.
3581.
Technician, health, environmental. 3581. 3581 information analyst. 2434.
Yeah.
I like whenever it's green, it means there's a high level of certainty.
Yeah.
If it's not green and it's low, the score is low, the chances that you might get it wrong is very high.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to ask questions to the employer that is giving you that job opportunity that, okay, the job requirement is what will be followed because this is what the home office would use to categorize.
Yeah.
So 2434, for example, is 2434.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
intelligence
see.
analyst and so on is higher skilled. So all you need to do in SEMA is when applying to roles, you look for the roles either whether in the NHS or anywhere. And if you go to the NHS website today and you type data analyst, you'd see different job titles because the NHS also knows that for us to sponsor the right candidates, the Home Office needs specific type of job titles and job responsibilities. So
Right.
that's how you search for the job, not just taking one job title and simply using that to say, you can't get sponsorship.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. So if you go to the NHS website, for example, and you search for, let's search for a data analyst role. Let's not select any postcode and you search. Okay. So you'd see data quality analyst, vascular data analyst. You see this role, for example.
Mm-hmm.
What the Home Office would look at is not just the job title. They would look at the responsibility. Is the responsibility aligned to a role that can be sponsored? So it's not a one size fits all that this particular job is
Mm-hmm.
in on the temporary shortage list and I can't get sponsorship. The role I clicked on or I showed you earlier, this one, data analyst, antimicrobial pharmacy team. It comes with sponsorship. Okay. Let's say the job requirements and what you'll be doing. Okay. So you look at this. What does the role entail? This role embodies the full data and intelligence cycle, gathering data, cleaning data, transforming, creating output, supporting, understanding, antimicrobial prescribing, and all of that. Okay. Utilizing a multitude of data sets and data sources to develop dashboards, routine reporting, and response to ad hoc requests are important tasks within the role. A keen eye for data quality, effective time management, and so on and so forth. And if you go all the way down, it's a role that comes with sponsorship.
Mm.
Okay. So the organizations also know categorically that if we use a specific type of responsibilities and a specific type of job title, the Home Office might categorize it as a role that is medium skilled. But this is not a medium skill role, it's a high skilled role. So the way they keep the responsibilities and the way they structure the job title would show the Home Office that this is a high skilled role and not a medium skilled role, if
What
that
I
makes
just
sense.
what I just noticed is the band. It says band five, the salary scale,
Yes.
because this is 31,000 to 38,000. So again, with this whole salary threshold, 41,000 pounds stuff, uh, would this job role fly for meeting the salary threshold?
I think the salary threshold is 41,700. That's
Yeah,
the increase from the last
yeah.
um from the
Immigration update.
last immigration update. Yes,
Yeah.
41,700. So if this doesn't fly because of the salary, I know there's also in the same updates, while you have 41,700, there's a lower salary threshold for new entrants.
Mhm.
Okay, but I'm not entirely sure how the new entrants thing works. But if you search new entrants, immigration updates or immigration policy, while you'd see 41,700 as the base
Mhm.
threshold to be eligible for sponsorship, you also have a lower salary threshold. I can't remember the number at the top of my head right now for new entrants. But then again, knowing the different requirements, the RQF, the salary threshold, and so on, you know the type of jobs to search for.
Right.
Okay. So that's the most important part
Yeah.
during the job
Makes sense.
search. So these are the things that during your job search strategies and so on and so forth, you want to focus on.
Yeah.
Okay. So
All right.
it's not a straight jacket. It's always good to use the cascode coding tool. That helps you understand what category does this job fall under and so on and so forth. Okay.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll see we've spent almost 3 hours on the call. What site are you using to check jobs where it is showing green?